y'all. All right. I haven't done this since April and I'm still nervous every time I get on here. Hi, you guys. How are you? I'll let some more people come in here before we start. Give it about 2 more minutes. Okay. How are you guys feeling? Are you guys ready for the holidays that are coming up? It don't really feel like Christmas for me, but I'm gonna do the best. I'm gonna enjoy it the best I can. Okay, we're getting some more people. It is hot. All right. Give it until about 6:35. I don't see any comments. Who's here? Who's here? Hi, Bianca. Listen, I'm tired too. I worked a full day today, but I'm here, I'm present, and I'm ready to educate, inform, and we're going to have a really good show. Hi, Quinny. All right. I feel like my ADHD about to kick in because can I really wait 2 minutes? Can I? We gonna see. All right. Sticky notes here. All right. Whew. This is gonna be a good show, y'all. I'm excited. We got some special guests. Quinn, I don't know if I can wait 2 minutes. Look, we already got one. I'm about I'm about to start talking. All right. Come on, Tabby. 1 more minute. You can do it. You can do it. All right. So for the ones that are familiar with me, hello, how are you? For the ones who are not, I'm not waiting 60 seconds. For the ones who are not, my name is Tabby Ford. I am an early childhood education specialist. I run my own preschool. Last time we talked, I was talking about the accreditation process and all that good stuff. Update, I am officially accredited and I am part of Florida's Gold Seal program. So woo for me and my program and my babies. But our podcast tonight. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how do we bridge the gap between students, teachers, and parents and guardians. So school life and home life, right? So, sorry, y'all. So for the past couple months, I have been watching and participating, I'm not innocent, in a lot of social media debates about these kids, the students, and then their parents, and then these teachers, right? So it's like teachers blame it. When it comes to education, teachers are blaming parents, parents are blaming teachers, teachers and parents are blaming students, students are blaming teachers and parents and their guardians. It's like a big circle that we keep doing. So it's just like, how do we fix this? Like, what do we do? And y'all know me, it's not your child, it's you. So, and I'm going to tell y'all how, because y'all, I know a lot of y'all just ready, like, no, it's these kids. So I know somebody wants it. I know there has to be a villain, right? But I'm here to tell y'all that the villain is so much bigger than teachers, students, and parents. Like, in reality, we're actually allies, but we're not working together to defeat the bigger forces out there. Like, we have to figure out how to work together to do this. So for me, when it comes to education, right? A lot of people like to discredit me because I teach preschool or because I don't have children of my own. But honey, I don't have to have children of my own. I work with kids 24/7, not even just my preschool babies. I have other stuff that I do. So I'm going to start by saying a lot of teachers and a lot of parents and guardians, I'm going to say adults. A lot of adults like to label children incorrectly without getting to the root, right? So the things I hear about students, oh, they're disrespectful, they're rude, they're this, they're that, right? So it's like, how did they get here, right? How did these kids didn't just wake up one day and be like, all right, today I'm gonna be disrespectful and I'm gonna misbehave and I'm gonna just not care what I do. No child does that, right? So how did we get here? So I'm gonna show y'all how children are influenced, right, by their environments. Okay. Look at these systems, right? So their microsystem is their family, their home life, right? The mesosystems, school life, outside influences, right? So I'm going to just stick with those two. And then you have like if they're in youth league, so like their peers and things that they do outside of home life and school life. So church, community services, things like that. So you have to pay attention to what your child is being surrounded by, right? So on top of that system, we also have my favorite, the needs of children. Now, I don't know how well y'all can see this. I guess I should have, let me blow it up. I can see it a little bit. I'll read it. So as you guys can see by the title, it says Maslow's hierarchy of school needs, right? So the bottom four are the things students need before they are able to learn, right? And so we talked about this in earlier shows. So kids need basic needs, right? Clothes, shoes, food, house. That's like the basics of needs that children need, right? Then we need safety, right? Emotional and physical safety. So I love hearing adults say like, well, I'm only supposed to provide them a house, somewhere to lay their head, food to eat, and clothes on their body. No, you're supposed to do so much more than that, right? So you can provide the house, the clothes, and the food, but is the house safe? Are you safe for your child or to your child? Can your child talk to you about anything without you exploding? Are you a safe space? Does your child live in a safe space? And not only at home, but at school as well. Is your child safe at school? Can your child talk to their teacher? Does your child have anybody that they can vent to if they're ever in need and you're not available? Like, who is part of your child's village? Who is this community? We have to create those things when it comes to our children. And then on top of that, parents, I'm telling you, y'all have like the hardest job, and I have nothing but respect for y'all. On top of that, we have to talk about the psychosocial stages, right? So when children are misbehaving, 9 times out of 10, they're misbehaving because they are communicating a need that is not met. Not yet. A need that is not being met. So this is not good. I'm just gonna talk to y'all. So a lot of children, when they are misbehaving, they're communicating a need that's not being met, right? The main need is attention, right? They're calling us to pay attention to them. What is happening to this child, right? So that misbehavior might be disrespectful. That misbehavior might be they're being rude, or I don't like to use the term lazy, so I won't use that, but they're not motivated to do any work. They're just literally hard to deal with, right? Because that's what kids are, hard to deal with. But it's so much more than that. So I know for me, growing up, I didn't realize that my needs were not met until I got to middle school. And during that time, that transition from elementary to middle school, on top of my body doing things that ain't never been done before, I need help. I need help. And my mother was a single mother of 6 children, and she was not able to help me in the way that I needed her. She did do her best, but I just needed so much help, and she was not able to do that. And on top of not being able to help, she also wasn't able to teach me anything. So, I mentioned this before. I was a terror in middle school. I threw chairs at teacher. I cursed teachers out. Was about to fight teachers. Like, what's up? I was so angry, but in reality, I was so sad. I was so disappointed. I felt unloved. It was so much stuff happening to me, but not once did a teacher ask. I'm sorry. A teacher did ask, but during this time, teachers didn't ask, like, what is going on with you? What is happening to you? What is happening? Like, why are you lashing out? Why are you beating people up? Why are you throwing chairs at teacher? Like, girl, you. So that was my issue. And it took one teacher to be like, what's going on? And when she finally talked to me to get to the root of why I was acting the way I was acting, I was able to get the help that I needed. And I feel like a lot of students are not getting the help that they need at school or at home. And that is what's causing them to misbehave. And that, again, that misbehavior is coming out as disrespect, aggression, they're fighting, they're bullying. It's a lot, right? So what I'm going to do is on top of all of this, right? We talk about my favorite word, autonomy. A lot of children are not allowed to own their autonomy. And autonomy basically means they make choices based on their lives, right? So a lot of kids are not allowed to make choices that they feel like works best for their lives, right? So they have their adults, teachers, parents, guardians, whoever, telling them, no, this is what you need to do. You need to do it this way, that way. You don't get to have your own process. You're going to do it my way. And I'm telling you, that does not work for a lot of students after a certain age. It's just not going to work for them. And then also, I feel like a lot of adults have like silent expectations when it comes to their kids. And then on top of these expectations, it's like common sense. But what a lot of people don't understand is common sense to one person is not common sense to the next person. Like, they have different meanings. So what you expect for your child to do is not what they expect for themselves to be doing. Like, for instance, a lot of kids go to school and they're expected to be good, right? But what is be good? Outside of listening, doing your work, and paying attention or whatever, what else does be good? Because if I'm doing those three things and I'm still getting in trouble, what is that? Okay, so I did a survey for students, and I'm going to share that with you guys in a few. But first, I want to share this video with you guys before I'm going to actually bring some students on. Those are my special guests. I'm going to bring some students on, and we're going to have a conversation about their school life and their home life and how that affects them, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. But first, I want you guys to watch this video, this monologue, and we will go from there. Not me misplacing the monologue, y'all. Hold on. Right here. Here we go.
I want to feel at ease when I go to school. I want to fit in. I'm never a part of the in crowd. I'm always just on the outskirts looking in. I want to be a part of the action for once and not be so in my head. God, I hate being shy, and I hate how everyone seems to have me figured out. Like I'm that girl. And there's no second chance to be involved in anything because I'm that girl. The girl who never goes to parties because she's never invited. The girl who never talks to guys because guys never want to talk to her. I want to change people's perspective of me. I don't really know how to make that work, though. It's like I'm there, but in a non-existent way. Does that make sense? I want to be involved with everyone else. But it always seems like there's no room for me. Like every seat is taken. It sucks.
Oh, where did she go? What did y'all think about that monologue? Uh-oh, let me go to the comments so I can see. What did you guys think about that monologue? Have when you guys were in school, did anybody else feel that way? Because I know I did, and I was popular.
Let me get my life together real quick. Hold on. Okay.
Shantae said she felt the same. So this is one of the students that are joining us today. This is actually my niece. If she wants to share her name, she can. But can you tell everyone how old you are and what grade you're in? You can't hear me? Uh-oh. Can anybody hear me? Shantae said I was the white black girl and didn't fit in with the white people or black folks. Can you hear me now? You can hear me now? So Shantae, I was actually the same.
Okay.
I I I I have a very high pitched voice, even though it's very, very what's the word? Low. But I really didn't grow up around a lot of black people outside of my family. Like my best friends were Puerto Rican and white. So when it came to being around black people, baby, I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know what, like, a lot of R&B. So like I was just not that girl at all. I would get picked on a lot. It wasn't fun. And because we're talking about needs, remember? Because I didn't have that need being met of belongingness and my emotional needs were not met, it made me lash out. And then I used to, so embarrassed to say this, I used to beat people up to be my friend. Like, you gonna be my friend, I'm gonna beat you up. Like, it was really, like I said, middle school was rough for me. So I have more of students joining in. Hi, hi, Shariah.
Hi.
Okay, so Zariah, y'all can tell we related. Okay, Zariah, can you tell people? I forgot they can see your name, so I might as well say it. Can you tell people how old you are and what grade you're in?
I'm 17 and I'm a junior in high school.
Okay. Shariah, can you tell people how old you are and what grade you're in?
I'm 12 and I'm in 6th grade.
In 6th grade. Ooh. Okay. I think we're supposed to have 2 more people joining in. I'll wait for them to join in and then I'll circle back. But I'm gonna ask you two the question since you're already here. Um, when you guys are needing help or just wanting to talk to somebody, when you're at home, who do you talk to?
For me, I talk to my mom a lot. I talk to my mom about everything. Cause I don't live with my dad, so yeah.
Okay.
I
Sure.
talk to my mom too.
Okay. What about at school? Do you guys have anybody to talk to at school?
My school does this thing with therapists. They have like a program, like if you sign up for it, or they'll just have like a guidance counselor, and then they'll call your name like certain days. They'll show up like 3 days a week, and then you could go talk to somebody. So yeah, I do.
I usually talk to my friends, but my school also has a guidance counselor.
Okay. Do you talk to your guidance counselor?
I haven't yet.
You haven't yet. Okay. Um, so I have a question about your learning. I'm going to show you guys this poster, And I want you guys to tell me what is your learning styles, okay?
Um,
I think mine would be solitary.
So you like to learn by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like visual
Visual learners.
and physical.
Hands-on. Okay, so with you guys seeing this, does any of your teachers teach you based on these learning styles?
Some of
So
my teachers do.
yeah, some of mine do too.
And did that help you guys a lot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does your teacher ever, or because I know you guys are in middle school and high school, so you guys have more than one teacher. So does any of your teachers ever take you guys outside of your classroom, like to the gym or a playground or anything, and you guys have class there?
No.
Mm-mm.
No. Hi, Aaron.
Hey,
Okay, Aaron is just joining in. Can you tell everybody your age and what grade you're in?
six. I'm in sixth grade.
You're in sixth grade. Okay. I'm going to ask you these two questions that I just asked them. Whenever you need help or you just want to talk to somebody, when you're at home, who do you talk to?
My mom or dad.
Okay. What about when you're at school?
Uh, probably the one of the teachers or principal.
So you feel comfortable talking to your teachers and principals for help?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to show you this banner. I want you to tell me, how do you learn?
Physical and social.
Physical and social. Now, with these learning styles, does your teachers teach or do things that help you in this way?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now that you've all caught up. So if you guys, if you guys are struggling in school or having any issues in school, do you guys feel comfortable telling me what they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Zariah, can you start?
I do struggle in math sometimes because high school math is like really hard. But most of the time I could like my teachers have like tutor classes and stuff. So like you'll sign a piece of paper and you can like go after school or like during lunch or something. So yeah,
Okay.
it's just mainly math.
Just math. What about you, Aaron?
Kind of what she said. Like I struggle like doing math and like uh sometimes language arts. It's like hard and it's sometimes confusing.
What makes
'Cause,
it confusing?
like the way he be like they be speaking is sometimes confusing. I don't know.
Are you comfortable with telling him, like, I don't understand this? This is confusing to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever told him that?
Yeah.
And what did he do to fix that, to help you?
Like he tried to like he made it more easier, but like it's still kind of hard.
Okay. Shariah?
Nothing's really that hard. It's just science is kind of confusing at times.
Okay. So I have a question for you guys. How was your transition from elementary school to middle school for Shariah and Aaron? How was your transition?
It was good.
It was like normal. It was the same thing.
It was so not having a lot of teachers were confusing in different classrooms or anything?
Yeah,
No,
it was
I
kind of
already had 3 teachers in elementary.
Okay. And what did you say, Aaron?
it's like better to have more teachers. 'Cause, I don't know. It's way better.
It's way better. Zariah, what was your transition from elementary to middle school and then middle school to high school?
From elementary to middle school, it was kind of hard. Like he said, it's better having more teachers because sometimes it's hard for one teacher to teach more than one subject because they're not like they don't fully understand. Like some teachers they do like they study that certain subject so they know everything, but the one teacher has to study like more than one subject to teach that subject, and sometimes it's hard for them to do that. But Yeah, it's like it was okay for me, but when I got to high school, it was kind of hard to find my classes. Yeah, because I went to a big school, so it was kind of harder, and we had certain time to get to class, or we had to like get a late pass. So
Okay. So it sounds like y'all really like school. Yes? Yes. Is there anything that your teachers can do better at?
um,
They can be like less strict.
Okay.
yeah.
What is strict? What does that mean?
Like they I don't know how to explain it.
You can give an example.
Like when they tell you can't do like certain stuff,
Certain stuff like what?
like like they won't let you do extra credit, like, and you need to raise your grade and like you do good in their class and stuff.
Okay. So that's your okay. And Zariah, you said strict too. What strict mean? What does strict mean to you?
Well, some teachers are like super strict. Like when I went to Gulf Coast, I had this one teacher that I also had when I was in middle school, but she's always been like a really like uptight. Like she no talking, like you can't like do certain things, or she would like she get mad and you have to go to the office. It's just like little things like that. She's just like really like strict about, and it's like I didn't not like her as a teacher because I loved her as a teacher. She was like nice and stuff, but sometimes like I'd say like one little thing, she'd be like, "Oh, be quiet." Like even though we had like quiet time, but you could talk to your like person next to you, she just I don't know, she was just a little too strict.
Okay. What about you, Aaron? What are some things that your teachers could do better at?
Really nothing. They really good sometimes. They do good.
Uh-oh. You said they do good with everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's the next question. So you already answered it. What is something that your teachers do really good at?
Communication.
They explain stuff really well.
They explain stuff really well. And then Aaron said everything. So based off of these three students, right? They like school. Their teachers are fine. There's some things that teachers need to work on, like being strict, their definition of strict, but overall, they seem to enjoy school. So my next question is, how do y'all feel, or what do y'all see in school? So there's two questions. So the first question is, how do you guys feel when parents and teachers and other adults say stuff like kids are bad, disrespectful, rude? Like, what have y'all seen, and what does that mean to y'all?
For me, I don't ever think it's the kids' fault. I think it's the way that they were raised. Like, cause I went to Largo, and at Largo you see a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. And so, like there was this one boy that I met. Everybody called him bad because he was always fighting and stuff, but like nobody really sat down and like got a chance to like sit with him and get to know him. And he actually had like a really good personality, but it was just the way he was brought up, and it wasn't really his fault. And he couldn't really, how do I say this? Like he couldn't, I don't know, but it wasn't really his fault.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What about you, Raya?
I don't really like when teachers call kids disrespectful and stuff. Some kids can be disrespectful, but like not all kids are disrespectful.
And what is your definition of disrespectful? What does that mean?
Like talking when you're not supposed to be talking, like breaking the class rules and stuff like that.
Okay. What about you, Aaron?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Okay. So if you guys were not following class rules, do you guys feel like you're being disrespectful to the class or to the teacher?
Sometimes you could be disruptful because like some students are really trying to learn, and like not everybody wants a disruption when they're trying to work.
That's fair. Anybody else want to answer that question? No? Okay. Well, those were all the questions that I needed from you guys. Um, Is there anything that you guys want to tell to tell adults when it comes to your education, as far as the things that you need, the things that you would like to see, the things that you want to change, any of that?
Mm,
Just be patient, I guess. Be patient because not all kids learn the same. And if someone doesn't learn a certain way, you can't get mad at them for that because it's not their fault. If they don't learn that way, then they just don't learn that way. You have to figure out which way they learn. So
yeah.
You agree with that, Shariah?
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to it?
No.
No. What about you, Aaron? What are some things that you feel like teachers, or what are some things that you want to see changed when it comes to your school or your teachers?
Like more like more like more like team things to do as like work instead of just doing it individually. Like like doing more stuff together and it's not like apart.
Do you work better when you work with a team sometimes or a group?
Is
yeah, I agree with that. It's better to work. Sometimes it's better to work with other people and hear other ideas, like what other people have to say. Because sometimes like you're not always right, and like if you like actually like sit and think with somebody else, and they're like explaining how they think of this thing, and it's like easier for you to figure it out.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay. Well, those are all the questions I had for y'all. Thank y'all for joining in on my podcast.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And I will more than likely see all y'all on Saturday. All right. Bye, y'all.
Okay,
Bye.
love you.
I love y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Ooh. What is your question, Nicole Tutzel? Or did you want to ask that question with the kids? While she waits, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys because the students, we did a survey for the students, and I'm going to share with you guys my the questions I asked them and what their responses were. Right here. All right. So the first question I asked them. Uh-oh. There we go. The first question I asked the students was, how do your teachers make learning fun, right? So these were some of the answers, which was really, really good. I enjoyed reading a lot of these answers. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. Oh, she had one for the kids. Okay. Hold on. I will tell them to come back. All right, hold on. Come back. I guess I could have had questions for y'all. Give me a second. For kids, come back in for streaming. All right. So while they're coming back in, so these were some of the questions I asked them. And like I said, some of these answers were really, really great to read. Some of them I was like, we got to figure out how to get these numbers higher. So this one says, do you feel comfortable asking your teachers for help? Most of them said yes. Most of them said sometimes. So we have to figure out how we can get students more comfortable with asking for help. A lot of them said that they are comfortable asking their parents or guardians for help. These were the subjects that a lot of kids are struggling in. And it's interesting to me that math, language arts, and English are still the top two because those are the core subjects that we have to focus on. So the fact that a lot of kids are struggling in this subject, and we'll go down to the grades in a minute, is very interesting to me because how do we help these students? How do we help them with these subjects? So that was one. We asked about the classroom vibe. here were some of the answers. For the most part, a lot of the classrooms are like really chill, really vibing. This was interesting to me because teachers ain't giving out homework no more. What? Or a lot of homework. I used to get slammed, but I guess that's a good thing because it was overwhelming. Let me see if anybody has came back in. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna bring her back in, but we're gonna still go over to the survey. Actually, I'm gonna pause in the survey. So hold on. Hi.
Hey.
So we have some questions for you guys. Or yeah, when everybody comes back in, we have some questions for you. So Nicole Sansel, we have a student here. When the rest of them join, I'll add them and then I'll have them answer your questions. Uh-oh. So, uh-oh. She's gonna type her question and then we'll answer it from there.
Shoot, let me get close because I can't see.
Well, I'll share it to the screen.
Okay.
Somebody said parents don't want it. Shanika, parents don't want what? And this is really good because the next podcast we're bringing on parents. And then the podcast after that we're bringing on teachers. So we're gonna create something really, really good because I feel like a lot of parents and guardians need help with their children. I feel like a lot of adults and teachers need help with their students. In some way, we keep missing the mark on how we can get together and help each other. Parents don't want homework. So because parents don't want homework, does that mean that you guys have a lot more classwork to do? Like, are you guys having to teach more in the classroom? All right, let's see. We're still waiting for Coach Nicole to ask her questions.
I think someone just crashed outside. I'm not too sure.
All right, well, I'm gonna hide this while she types her question. I guess I'll go back to sharing my screen. All right, so I'm gonna go back to sharing the screen. So I asked, does teachers provide extra support for students? There was a lot of sometimes. So I'm not for sure. Again, these responses were anonymous, so I'm not for sure who answered what. But I do know that based on the conversations I've had with other parents and guardians, that there are students being sent home with work that they don't understand. And when students ask them about this, they can't really explain it outside of what they've already done. And then when they try to explain it to the parents are even more confused. So it's just like, I don't know what to do. Lots of confusion. We talked about feedback. It was neck and neck with the yes and no. So that was very interesting to me. Aaron is back. Nicole said, we don't increase homework. It's a struggle getting students to return homework. Okay. Ooh, this giving me questions for the teachers panel. A lot of students feel like their teachers do care about them. Some of them said sometimes, which is good. A lot of the students feel loved. This one was very interesting to me. And I guess this is good that I brought it back because I asked, do you feel like your teachers motivate you? and a lot of them said sometimes. So I'm going to ask you, Aaron, and you, Zariah, do you feel like your teachers motivate you?
I don't want to say sometimes, but sometimes, my teachers, I don't know, they don't really not really.
Okay. What about you, Aaron?
Like they sometimes they like it's like times they want to and then times they don't. Like they wanna they wanna to do what they feel like they wanna do.
Okay. Okay. So Coach Nicole's question was this: why so much profanity in the classroom? When did that become acceptable?
I don't know. I think we're still just kids, and kids repeat what they hear at home. That's all I really have to say about that. But I know I don't use profanity in the classroom.
Okay. Aaron, why do you think children are cursing in the classroom?
Like same thing that she said.
I think they're just trying to be cool in front of their friends also.
So you feel like they're needing some attention or something, or trying to be accepted?
Probably. I think that's why most kids act out at school too.
Okay. Sorry, does anybody else have any questions for the students? I will. What would they need to be motivated? That's a good question.
Probably a pep talk.
What, Aaron?
A pep talk.
All right, Aaron said a pep talk.
To show that they really love what they're doing, if that makes sense. Like, cause like some teachers just teach to teach, or like they're teaching just to go to work and get paid, or like, and then but some teachers they show that they really love teaching and stuff, and that's what can motivate like a person, is to show that that person really loves what they're doing.
Okay. Okay. Good. I can say as far as profanity. So I'm surrounded by children who curse. And it's not cursing. I don't find cursing to be disrespectful to a certain extent. Like if you're playing your game and you say, "Oh, shit," I don't think that's being disrespectful. But if you are cursing at me, then yes, that's disrespectful. I do feel like a lot of parents nowadays don't feel like cursing is like, oh my God. I do feel like, maybe they should teach their child when and when not to use this language, because some people may find it a certain way, but that's just my answer.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just my answer.
Yeah.
Also, if any other student wants to come on here, if any of your children are watching, I can send you guys a link and you guys can come on in. Aaron, you're in middle school. Zariah, you're in high school. What other things do you guys see around the school that are either helping you with your education or preventing you from getting your education? Or what other things are happening in school or around school? Yeah.
Probably fighting.
Fighting. Why do you think people are fighting?
Because they want to act cool.
Rumors.
That too.
Okay. But why fighting and not talking?
I don't know. Some people like to project their anger more than their words. I don't know. Some people just like to fight just to fight, because they know like, oh, I could fight. Like, I want to fight anybody. I could beat anybody up. But that's just some people. But other people like I remember seeing this one fight of these two people. They but one girl didn't want to fight, but the other girl, she just wanted to fight, and it was all because of a rumor. But I mean, she didn't want to fight, and they still fought anyway.
Okay. We have two more questions for you. Nicole Tonsel said, what needs to be done for students to have good intentions in the classroom? For example, staying off their phone, not falling asleep in class, and actually doing their work. What needs to happen?
Something exciting, like being excited to work. I had this one teacher that she was just like so like enthusiastic about like working. She would like walk around the classroom and she would like be like she'll like ask questions, and then we have these like popsicle sticks that we like would raise or whatever. It was just like she would make it a game, and it was like it was fun.
So more engaging is what I'm hearing.
I agree.
You agree?
So
So
some teachers just sit behind their like computer and like give you a paper and then just sit down and then that's it.
okay. Another question is, what motivates y'all now? Like, what would y'all need right now to motivate y'all?
I don't really think I need motivation right now because I think I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah. Same.
Okay. So, not talking about yourself, what do you think in general would help motivate your peers when it comes to school and doing their work and coming to class?
Well, like I said before, making it fun.
What did you say, Aaron?
Like telling them what's right and wrong, probably.
Telling them what's right and wrong. Okay. Okay. So I have a question. Why do you guys think a lot of kids don't come to class?
Probably because it's boring.
Or they probably because they don't understand, and they probably already tried to ask for help and they didn't get the help that they needed, and so that's what makes people not want to do it anymore.
Have you ever experienced something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How did it make you feel asking for help and still not getting the help?
I didn't want to do the work no more.
Aaron, you said that. Did you still try to do your work, or you
still try it?
You still try it? And you said
I went to another teacher, and I like a different teacher in a different grade, but the same subject, if that makes sense. Like, so she could help me because my teacher, yeah, she was explaining it the same way she already explained it before, like in class after I asked her after class, and it just still wasn't making sense.
Now I'm going to comment on that because I do feel like, excuse me, a lot of teachers teach from a direct instructional approach. It's like, this is what we're doing. This is how I'm teaching it. The end. Now y'all got it.
Yeah.
And I know as a student myself, even in college, that doesn't work for me. And I got a question. Hello? I got a question. And I got another question. And I got another question. And now I'm kicked out of the classroom because I'm disrupting the class with all my questions. But I feel like a lot of teachers are not doing a great job explaining to the students what they want them to do. And that was actually, sharing my screen again, that was actually one of the questions I asked the students. What do you think your teachers need to work on? And these were some of the responses. They said a lot of teachers are working fast. They need to teach slower. They need to talk to kids, work on talking to kids when they're upset, giving extra time, yelling, making class fun, the communication skills and grading, nothing, how they teach, calling people out in front of the class, giving better examples, talking to everyone nicely. Those were answers I was expecting, but like really didn't want to expect. But I know that as a teacher, a lot of us are tired. We're burnt out. We don't feel appreciated. We feel like we're doing our best and it's still not enough. And we're to the point where if you don't care, then we don't care. And that's a conversation I'm going to have with the teachers, but that is the wrong attitude to have when you're still choosing to wake up every day and come to your job, because you're going to have days where students are driving you absolutely insane. You don't understand what's going on. Nothing you're doing is helping. They're shutting down. You can't get through to them. It's just so much, but this is something that you signed up for. And people hate when I say that, but I'm 33 years old. How old are you, Zariah? 17. All those years, 17 years ago, I wasn't this person. I'll just say that. I wasn't this person. Aaron, how old are you?
11.
At 11, even worse. Teachers were very rude. to me. Teachers felt like because they're the teachers, you won't have to listen to me. I'm gonna tell you like this, and that's what it is. And it's like you cannot have that attitude. At the end of the day, yes, these are students, and they may be younger than you, but they're still humans. They're still human beings, and they still deserve respect, and they're still supposed to be treated with basic human decency. And a lot of teachers, again, don't y'all teach like Miss Trunchable. Um, Nicole said, I understand making it fun, but when you have to take the standardized test, it's not fun. Teachers are giving a paced curriculum. Teachers are frustrated because scholars are not responding, and we are competing with cell phones. Do you guys feel like cell phones play a huge part in distractions in the classroom?
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Why do you think people are on their cell phones?
Well, because she said like it's hard to make it fun because like it's boring. Like
Yeah,
really,
it's boring.
if you want to be honest, learning is really hard and boring at the same time. But like I try to make the best out of it because I mean I have to learn it and I don't have no choice. So, but sometimes it's just like when a teacher is just doing nothing, sitting behind their computer, what else am I supposed to do? I'm going to get bored of like just sitting here staring at this paper, not knowing what to do, because if I ask you, you're just going to explain it the same way you explained it before.
Okay. Somebody responded to what I said with true, but if they are not willing to try, then as a teacher, adult, you can't keep pushing because all they're going to do is push back. My response to this is you may have to modify how you are trying to get to your student. Like if you're coming to your students hot with shoulders and you real bouncy, they're gonna be bouncy back with you. They're literally repeating behaviors that they're seeing you do. But if you're coming with a calm and very easygoing approach, you may not still get through, but at least your approach was calm. So, the question was, what are things that you would like to learn about?
So,
Like, as in what?
I'm assuming in general, what are some things that you would like to learn about?
Things that actually matter in the real world, because most of the stuff that we're learning today, I'm not gonna use when I'm like 30. So, yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Aaron?
oh no.
Okay, I have a question to piggyback off that. If you're learning math, right? How could your teacher make that class fun and more engaging, a math class?
Like, you know how in elementary school how they have like, because we're so used to like learning with like things that we can have and like physically see. They used to have like the hundreds blocks, the tens, the ones, like stuff like that, like physical stuff. Like if we were learning about money, like buy monopoly money or like fake money or something like that, we can like see, like physically see. Because like if we're like going to like a job, you know, like, and you have to like work with money, because like I don't really know how to do money because I never really like learned like that. But yeah, I feel like that's what we're used to and that's what we try to do, but it's harder now because like they're putting like numbers with like letters and it's like it's difficult.
Someone said, okay, Shanika said like, so you said things that are going to help us in the real world, like what?
Like how, like finances, or like how to like if I wanted to buy a house, or like taxes, how to pay taxes. I don't know how to pay taxes, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to when I get out of high school. So it's like things like that, if that makes sense, like general things like that.
Okay, what about you, Aaron? You're in middle school. What classes are you taking that you're like, I don't need this?
Probably I don't want to say math, but like I don't really know.
So I think I know where you're going. So maybe not geometry, but something else. Because like, when are we going to use pi for anything in the real world?
I have something to say.
Okay.
But I get it. I get like the learning part of it, because some people might go and like be like, oh, I want to be this when I grow up, like the stuff that we learn like in school, they be like, oh, like this is fun, like maybe I want to do this. I understand that, but it's just like, what about the people that are not going to do that when they get older? Like, what are we supposed to do?
So do you think the choice of curriculum would be better based on the things that you're interested in being or doing after you graduate school?
Yeah.
Okay. I have another question. It says, I believe the key is building relationships with students, but many are disrespectful. Nicole, can you define what your definition of disrespectful is? Like, what is that? Because what's disrespectful to you may not be disrespectful to another person. But the question was, why do scholars only care about their grades when the grading period is ending?
I don't know. I feel like that's everybody. Cause like I used to be like that, like a lot, like not now, but I used to be like that. Like it's so much harder, because like when you have so much work and like it just keeps building up, like not like saying that you're not doing your work, but it builds up a lot, and then like people get tired, and like sometimes they be like, okay, I want to take a break, but you can't take a break, because if you take a break, then like all that work's gonna pile up, and then when you have to like pile up and teachers don't give like extra credit, then it's harder to work work is you have to work harder to get the grade that you want by the end of the semester. And so at the end of the semester, when teachers be like, oh, you can like do old work, or like you can do this and do this, and that's why people work harder at the end, because like you can do more than you could before, if that makes sense.
So my question to that is, what do you think causes students to fall behind on their homework or their schoolwork?
Stress.
What about you, Aaron? What do you think makes people fall behind on their schoolwork?
Homework.
Not
understanding it.
Okay.
Because sometimes homework, like I remember I got this homework that had nothing to do with what we learned in class that day. So it really just didn't make no sense to me.
So did you do it?
No. I'm just gonna be real honest. I did not do it, but I did have to make it up. So I did.
Okay. So I have another hot question. How do you feel when you hear adults calling y'all lazy?
I feel that they don't have no talk time.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, because like most teenagers, let's be honest, most teenagers are depressed. Let's just say that. And so it's like, it's hard to do stuff. Like if you think about it, like laying in your bed is so comfortable. Like I could if I wanted to lay in my bed all day, like I could do that. But it's just like, I wouldn't do it, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand why people call other people lazy if you don't know what they're going through, really.
That is fair. That is extremely fair to ask.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like maybe you're not motivated?
Sometimes.
Or you're burnt out or depressed, like you said? What did you say, Aaron?
Sometimes.
What causes y'all to be burnt out? Because, people would say, y'all just kids. What y'all burnt out about?
That's the thing I never understood. Age has nothing to do with what you go through. You can go through anything at any age or like any time. Like you don't have to be grown to be like, oh, like I'm depressed. Like I don't understand why some parents be like, my kid's not depressed. You can't be depressed. You're only this age. What does that matter? I never understood the age thing. Yeah, because you don't have like some people like, oh, like they're acting grown, or just because they're wearing like lip gloss or like makeup or eyelashes and stuff. How do you act grown if that's like they're not out in the streets doing like anything? So yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes teachers judge y'all or adults judge y'all before getting to know you?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they do that? Or how do you think that makes you feel, or other kids feel, to be judged?
I'll be back.
Okay. To be judged without anybody knowing anything about you.
I don't know. Sometimes people get judged for what they like used to be like before, like because that happens to me like a lot. People think that like I'm still the way that I used to be, and like they don't get a chance to like try to know me, if that makes sense. Like they don't try to like get to know me again, or they just be like, oh, you did this, like, so I'm not gonna be your friend. Or the teachers be like, oh, you used to get bad grades, so like I'm pretty sure you're just gonna get bad grades again. So yeah.
I want to pause on this. So we got the response. She said, disrespectful used to be acting in a way that's not acceptable to your parents, talking back, using profanity, calling teachers out of their names, not doing what they are asked or told to do, walking out of class without permission.
Some teachers are very provoking. So I understand that part. Like some teachers, they like do stuff on purpose. Like they're like, oh, that's why you have, like, if somebody did something in the class, they'd be like, oh, that's why you have an F in my class in front of everybody. And that's really like that's not everybody else's business. Like you could come to me and talk to me about it, but you wanted to say it out loud to get a reaction out of me, and that's what you got. So for real.
I do understand that, because I feel like a lot of teachers, like you said, they are provoking. And this isn't just teachers that you have. This is teachers that I've had as well. And I'm gonna pull it back up. But I feel like when it comes to the word disrespectful, I feel like a lot of teachers have this view on how students should behave, how students should act, what they should do, but they don't understand that a lot of the stuff that they feel is disrespectful, the parents don't.
Mm-hmm.
Provoking, tell your parents. So that's like, everybody is not raised the same way. Everybody does not come by the same rules, beliefs, or anything like that. So profanity, we're going to go back to profanity. Profanity is something that is not disrespectful to a lot of people, but to other adults, it's like, that is just the worst thing you can do. So she said, if the teacher is provoking, tell your parents.
Well, it's not like that's going to stop the teacher from doing what they're doing. I mean, they're the teacher, and the most you can do is report them, but I'm pretty sure nothing's really going to happen because, like, I don't know if that really makes sense.
Have you ever been provoked by a teacher? Have you ever been provoked by a teacher?
I've walked out of class before because a teacher, like, remember the thing I just gave you, what is it? The reason I just gave you, like how they were like, oh, you got this grade in my class, like in front of everybody, and they just like think it's funny, and that's why that's why some people walk out of class, or like, because some teachers are mean for no reason. So it's like, okay.
All right, we have another one. It said, I try to instill in students that it's not as much about the relevance of the class because they have to take certain classes, which is true. It's about the habits that they are creating that would enable them to be successful in life. Life is going to require them to finish things. Also, depending on where they want to be in life, they're going to need to develop a habit of doing things the best they can do to whatever level that is for them. I like that. So we have multiple questions. This one says, what happened to classroom etiquette? I'm going to answer this question. As a teacher, as an adult, period, dealing with children, you have to set that expectation. You have to set that standards. You have to create those rules. Because again, what works in your classroom may not work in another classroom. This teacher might not mind students doing X, Y, and Z, but you would. So you have to create that space in your classroom this is my expectations. This is what we're going to do. If you don't do this, then this is what's going to happen. Teaching is not a one size fit all. Everybody's classroom is not the same. This person, Shanika, said, but when you come to my class late, playing games, not doing work, you feel like I have to respect you, but not me. I'm going to respond to that. You allow students to come to your class late, playing games and not doing work. Why are you not dismissing them from your class?
I also have something to say. I feel like if they knew that you, like, as a teacher, don't play that, I guess, then they wouldn't act that way. If, like, they knew, like, oh, like, I'm going into this teacher's class, like, I know they don't, like, they're, like, kind of not strict, but they, like, have rules.
They're
And,
firm.
like, they're really firm with their rules. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm just gonna go in here and do what I need to do. But I feel like some kids, like, think, like, know that they're teachers. They'd be like, okay, like, I know this teacher's not going to do anything, or like they're like chill, and I could just like go in this class and, like, sit and like talk to my friend and do my work, like all that. So yeah, it just depends on the vibe of the class.
And I'm going to add to that because I have preschoolers, and I hear all the time, "Oh, I wish my child act like this, like they act like how they act at school, like, but they don't." Sorry, ooh, words on that. A lot of my students, the way they act with me, they do not act like that at home.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because my classroom, the stand, everything is set from day one. When you come in this classroom, you're washing your hands. Period. You don't get to play unless, and that's been my rule since the first day I started 5 years ago. Anybody can tell you that. So because I stand firm on my classroom rules, my students can't break that. And if they do, it's their consequence. Like, if you want to do this, then you have to do that. Quinny said, teachers know they have a form of power over students. It's usually teachers' words against students unless caught on camera.
I agree.
She also said, and unfortunately, it's easy to label and push the narrative of bad student and get support from other teachers and administration. I agree with both of those things.
Me too.
I agree with both of I agree with both of those things.
100%.
100%. Because again, teachers do have a form of power. They do have, totally agree with Zariah. Somebody agrees with you. A lot of teachers have I'm going to always say it, the mistrunchable attitude. They don't see students as humans. They see them as minority. I'm going to tell you what to do, and that's that. And I get, again, if you've been teaching for a long time, at this point in your life, you are probably burnt out, stressed. It's annoying. You got administration coming at you because the board is coming at them, because the state is coming at them. It's a lot happening. But we still have to find a way. We have to find a common ground. How do we get to these students? How do we get to their levels? And I also want to say, because I like to research things, a lot of these students are not performing at their right grade level. And I feel like teachers know this, but they don't know how to do it. Or I'm sorry, they don't know how to get them to where they need to be. And it's just like they don't have the resources either. And I feel like a lot of adults don't understand that a lot of these teachers do not have the resources that you think they have.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. Some of us are in the trenches.
I have something to say.
Give me 1 second. Somebody said there are some really good teachers who have set the foundation and some students don't care. So why do you think those students don't care? And before you answer that, we're going to come back to, if you can see it, we're going to come back to this. Right? Do the students not care because of what? Are their basic needs being met? Do they not care because they feel like nobody cares about them? Are they misbehaving because something is happening and nobody's getting to the root of it and people keep dismissing them? Why do these students not care? Because y'all, I guarantee these students do care, but they don't feel like they're cared for. So if you don't care about me, I'm not gonna care about anything, and that's just the way it's gonna go. And it's very toxic. Yep. And it's very unfortunate that a lot of students are like this. And my special guest is having difficulties getting on, but I had in middle school a teacher. Actually, she was the guidance counselor. Hold on, let me get this off. I had my middle school years, like I said, I was a terrorist. My mom used to beat me because teachers would start stuff with me, and I'm gonna finish it because who you talking to? And my mom also never believed me, and that was my biggest issue. I'm telling you, this teacher is doing X, Y, and Z, and you're telling me no, she's not. I'm making up things. I'm just being difficult, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that's also something students deal with. Them telling their parent or guardian, hey, this teacher is doing X, Y, and Z, and the parent is just totally dismissive of it. So now the student is going to this class and dealing with whatever emotional trauma or abuse or whatever that this teacher is doing to them. So I'm going to tell this story. And I'm sorry if you related to this lady, just know she started it. My 7th grade or 6th grade reading teacher, Miss Davis, I'm very animated. Anybody who knows me knows I'm very animated, always been animated. I can make my voice go different ways. I can make this sound and pretend I have gum in my mouth, but we'll get whatever. So one day I was reading and I finished it and I said, and she told me to spit my gum out. I said, I don't have any gum in my mouth. She said, I just heard you pop your gum. Go spit it out. I said, Ms. Davis, I don't have gum in my mouth. This lady basically told me I was never going to be nothing and to get out her classroom. She called me a liar and everything. And that was the relationship me and her had until I threw the chair at her and I had to get removed from her classroom. On top of me throwing my chair at her, my mom, of course, beat me. And she just really couldn't believe that a teacher would be acting like this to a student. Like, there's no way. And then one day, my mom was coming up to the school to have a meeting with this teacher. And as she was walking up to the hallway, she heard this teacher and I going at it. And that's when she came in and realized I was not lying. Like, this teacher was really talking to me like I was nothing. So I feel like parents and guardians need to take into consideration some of the stuff their child is saying about their teacher, because they're not always making up stuff or over exaggerating and things like that.
Some people just have like this expectation for teachers to be like always right because they're teachers, if that makes sense. Like, they're like, oh, like they're a teacher, they're gonna do what they're supposed to do, but that's not how it really is.
Shanika said, again, we can only do so much with what we are given. People are only willing to share what they want to share, and that is me speaking as an adult. So that's a problem. You don't think that's a problem? That people are gatekeeping things that can be resourceful for our students, our youth?
Like, sometimes as a teacher, you have to like speak to a kid, like you have to like relate, like, because I'm like, I feel like some kids like feel like people don't relate to them because they feel like nobody else goes through what they go through because nobody can relate to them.
Yeah. So yeah. Diana said, when kids feel they have no control, they will act out. Correct. Kids need to be told that they have control over their actions and reactions and believe it. They must be given productive opportunities to be I'm assuming to lead, to be led. Okay, sorry, reading that too fast. And her comment is what I was talking about with autonomy. Kids need to feel like they have control over their lives. If I say I don't want to do this, then respect how I feel. If I say if I ask you, can I do this at another time? Let me, because I'm telling you right now, I don't have the ability. I can't do it right now. And you're forcing me to do it. I'm going to get everything wrong.
And I'm gonna have an attitude, and then you're gonna be upset with me because I'm upset with this work.
Do you share everything hardship in your life with every person you meet? No. However, with my teachers, I'm gonna have to have their guidance with my schooling. I'm not having a good time. I don't understand. With teachers, yes. And even if it's not with your teachers, with your guy, if a child is struggling, they need to have somebody that they can talk to. If it's not their parents, somebody at school that they can talk to so that they can get the help that they need. Maybe their parents or maybe they're ashamed. Maybe their parents are too embarrassed. How many stories do we know with kids are living at home with no water, no food, and they're too embarrassed to tell anybody? How many stories do we hear about that? Who do these kids tell? Who can they trust? And that is not how it is. But why? Why are we not providing safe spaces for these students to talk about their hardships with, whether it's at home or at school?
And it's like, sometimes I feel like if I wanted to go talk to somebody like at school, why do I have to wait? Like, why do I have to wait for another day? Like, why is there not somebody here right now? Because what if I need somebody right now? Like, what if I was going to go home and do something bad? Like, what if I just needed that, like, somebody to talk to right then and there, and then I didn't have it.
So the resources that we don't have. A lot of these schools do not have the resources. A lot of these teachers do not have the resources. And it's unfortunate because a lot of these students are struggling because they can really use these resources. Again, my 7th grade guidance counselor, this is where I was going with my story. One day she pulled me to the side and she basically told me that if I don't stop this destructive behavior, where my life would lead. And then we had a conversation because she just was like, you're so smart, but X, Y, and Z. And then when she finally talked to me and she realized that I just needed a lot more guidance that I wasn't getting at home, she was able to help guide me on the right track. So it says, I'm hearing a lot of blame on teachers. I believe all stakeholders need to be held accountable. Teachers, students, parents, and the community. Every situation is different and every student is different in the classroom. Connection is key, but so is accountability. So how do we hold students accountable? How do we hold their parents and guardians accountable, the community accountable, and teachers accountable? Quinice said, I think a big problem is teachers are sold a dream that they will be teaching perfect students and expect perfect students. And by perfect students, I mean students who come to school and only have school on their mind, who don't have struggling households, are not hungry, or being abused.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Nicole said every school has resources. Every school does not have resources. Every school does not have resources. Yeah. We have certified social workers and therapists in Pinellas County schools.
When I went to Gulf Coast, we did not have nobody. We didn't have a nurse. We didn't have nobody to talk to. They would have to call somebody from another school. And if they weren't there that day, then we didn't have nobody at all.
Shanika said it's not about safe places because it is there, but because of life and the fear of what might happen stops a lot of people. That goes for adults too. I feel like when people look at students, they don't see children, especially high schoolers. These are still children figuring out life, learning, needing to be guided. And they might not have that guidance at home, which is horrible. So a lot of students do come to school and depend on their teachers. They do have this one teacher or this two teachers that they connect with. Social workers are split between 2 schools in Hillsborough. So the resources are limited. So the schools have resources, but they're limited.
Yeah, like back to what I said. Like, what if somebody needed to talk to them that same, like, right as they ask?
These are good questions. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because again, the villain in this is not teachers, is not parents and guardians, and it's not students. It's our higher ups. It's our administration. It's our school boards. It's our state. And it literally trickles down into the students. And it's like, how do we help the students if nobody is helping parents? Nobody's helping teachers. How does this go? It's all bad. It's falling dominoes. Deshane said, I'll never forget the teacher that took extra time for me, made a huge difference. And again, I made this statement. A lot of teachers are parental figures in a lot of these students' lives. Y'all are, whether y'all want to accept that or not, y'all are. A lot of these students need y'all. And it's not fair that they have parents or guardians at home that they should be depending on too, but sometimes that's not the case. You're who they see Monday through Friday. You're who they spend the most time with. So be there for that student. Get to the root of why this student is misbehaving. Talk to them. And when I say talk to them, don't come at them with your chest up. Have a normal conversation with them. Hey, man, what's going on? You need to talk. What's going on? Talk to me. And make them feel like y'all are on a level playing field. If they feel like they are inferior to you, they're not going to talk to you at all. Or if they feel like they can't trust you, forget about it.
Like if I feel like if I feel like I'm like, if I want to talk to a teacher and I feel like I'm actually talking to my teacher instead of talking to a person, it's different, if that makes sense. Like, because some teachers will talk to me as a teacher and not as a person.
Yeah. That oh, excuse me. That's literally how it is. That's how it's been. And I'm sorry if, this is new news to people who went to school and had amazing experiences. That's amazing for you guys. There are students that did not have amazing experiences, did not have amazing home lives, needed somebody to depend on and had nothing. Nobody, kept getting dismissed. Needs were not being met. What happens to these kids? How do we help these kids? Y'all look at these kids as kids, not students, not this, kids. How do we help these kids? How do we meet these kids' basic needs so that we can help them excel? How do we do that while they're in our care? Whatever they go home to, we have no control over that. We only have control over what we do when they're in our care. So now what? Now what? And if, as an educator working with students, if you don't know how to be part of your students' village, then you got to learn. You got to learn. What is my solution? My solution to what? Because I got a lot of solutions. Because it's like I said, parents have it rough, teachers have it rough, students have it rough. Everybody has it rough. But how do we all work together? How do we build this community up so where students are not falling behind? Students are not being disruptive in the classroom. What do we do? I don't know what she's going to ask, but my solution as far as classwork and being engaged, it's the language for me deal breaker. It's the language for me deal breaker. So, Nicole, if students come in the classroom and they don't curse, you can work with them?
Because everybody curses, no matter where
everybody
you are.
And Diana said it starts with administration. It does. And it's unfortunate that there are people working in administration that have no idea how to work with students, how to support students. They don't. And hear me out. Yes, everybody curses. All these kids curse, right? As an adult, why are you fighting against that fact? If a kid come to you and be like, man, today was hard as hell, you gonna get mad at them because they just said today was hard as hell?
They're just saying how they feel. Some parents raise their kids to say how they feel, and if I just feel like that's not their fault.
Hold on. Tabri, how do you join? I'm working from the root up. I do private. I don't post everything on Facebook, but I do work with students. I do work with teachers. Sorry. I do work with teachers. I am working with parents. I do what I can with the people. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right, but that's reality.
Right.
That's reality. But I work with the people that come to me. I have done, even though it was on the preschool level, but I have done outreaches where nobody shows up. I keep my inbox open for the most part. Join with conversation now. Shanika, are you trying to come into this conversation like live or? And y'all keep popping in and out. Who's there?
They don't have the name.
I can send you a link. Give me a second. So I'll probably, okay. Give me a second. Let me. Hold on, because the link is join with the conversation now. Okay, let me get her in here. Invite. Ha ha ha. See how easy that was? Send a message to Shanika. All right, I sent you a link. I agree. Students can turn their language on and off. If that's my expectation for my classroom, then okay. If that's the expectation for my classroom, that's what it is. Just like you said, you make your babies watch their hair. That's your expectation. It's the same for kids in the teacher's room if that's their expectation. Correct. But has that expectation been verbalized? Have you guys, on the first day of school, do you come in like, all right, my name is Miss Fort. Ew. My name is Miss Tabri. This is my class. This is the do's and don'ts. This is going to happen if you don't. And let's get it started. Do y'all want to put any input? What do y'all think our classroom environment should be? What do y'all think the classroom rules should be? Also, while doing that, you have to also make sure that you're not bending that rule for this student or that student. Because when students start seeing favoritism, you've lost the class. Because now they feel like you don't care. You only care about these students. She said, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful reality. I don't use profanity in front of my parents, and I'm good and grown with my own everything. Become of respect. And that's your opinion. That's your belief. Other teachers probably don't feel that way. Other parents probably don't feel that way. And again, that's how you probably were raised. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's how you were raised. But a lot of parents are not caring about profanities being used, especially if it's being used to just communicate. Man, this shit was hard.
If I was to hurt myself and I said a bad word out loud in front of my mom, she wouldn't say anything to me, but as long as I'm not saying it at her, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying curse words at her, but if I was saying it out loud, but I don't use them often.
Quinique said the sad part is only Black and brown children in poverty-stricken areas have this issues. In rich private school, different resources are provided and the police are never involved. Yeah. There's a community, and I feel like when it comes to every teacher feels that way. Sorry, I totally agree. All rules have to be for everyone, all students that walk in my room. Correct. So if you're creating this from day one and it's not bending, students have no choice but to respect that. But the minute you let somebody slide, one person, then the whole classroom gonna turn into slip and slide records. And now what? Because you let that one person slide. She said every teacher feels that way. Okay. All right. Adding to the stage. You're on.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
I love you so dear, but I feel like you are killing it, boo.
Tell me.
I'm speaking from educational to parent to child who grew up just the same way you did. And one thing I have to say, it's a different generation of children. We all know that. Secondly, we as teachers do reach out and do a whole lot. And a lot of parents don't put an effort, don't care, don't anything. Yes, administrative. I do hear the students because your niece has very valid points, very, very valid points. But there are a lot of things, like you said, from above all the way down to us teachers all that need to change. But also, as teachers, we work very hard, just like I said before, to set a foundation, and the students still come in every day and do not show respect for what we do. We can add as much fun, creative things, move from this station, do that, and still, with no level of respect, do we get that same courtesy back.
Is this from all students or just certain students?
I will say it varies. Depends on what community you're in, because this is actually my 4th year in public school system.
I transferred, but go ahead.
I started off in the private sector, have always been in the private sector. When I say private sector, I say mostly like preschools and daycares. I've been doing it since I was 15. So like it's totally different, and it just depends on where you are, because I started off in pretty much a neighborhood where I came from, the Greenwood area. Totally different. Even the parents, and most of the parents I know because I went to school with them. So you come with the cars and it's full of weed and the kids smell like it, and they come to school, and just like you said, what they hear from home, they bring into our classrooms. And as teachers, we're trying to not only take that and get that out of our classrooms, just like the other, I don't know if she's a teacher too that's been commenting, but keeping that out of our classroom where it comes to the profanity, because no matter, I understand what you're saying, but no matter where you are or how old you get, and even now, I promise you probably don't do it, but when you around your grandma, your auntie, and all of them, you try your hardest not to cuss. Does it come out? Yes, but you try your hardest. These kids don't even try hard not to. When I say I've heard kids literally look me smack dead in my face and let the words fly like firecrackers.
And sometimes there's absolutely nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing.
But if I'm setting the foundation in my classroom and saying I don't want that to have a productive classroom, and every day you come in, not saying you, so don't take what I'm saying literally, and I'm telling you that's not what I want in my classroom, but that's what comes to my classroom every day, at some point I'm going to get tired, just like you get tired with me as a student. Like you said, you want a place to learn, you want something to enjoy, and if that's not given to you, you act out, you show your tail, you do whatever. As a teacher, we get tired too, and we might say, that's why you got an F in my class, because I'm doing everything to set that foundation for you. But you come in every day and you have every smart thing. You come in my classroom late when I've told you several times I don't. And everything has gotten a lot more lenient. If you look at the school system now, referrals are not referrals, and you don't get to spend it anymore. Like, it's so many things that, yes, I understand we have to change with the times, but some things need to remain the same. You get a referral, after so many referrals, your butt need to be suspended so your parents can take care of it, and they have to lose their time, just like I'm losing time in my classroom, because guess what? Now you've torn my classroom apart, and now I have to uproot the kids that are actually learning to move them out of the classroom because I don't want them to get hurt. Now I've lost my only 20 minutes that I get to teach language to just let you destroy my classroom.
So my question to you is, for these disruptive students, what is their consequence? Are they told to leave, or do they have to stay in the classroom and destroy your classroom?
Per certain things, I'm not going to say every school is the same, but it is in high priority to get the other kids out of the classroom so they don't get hurt.
Okay.
So they're the student that is, and then whoever comes in, whether it be me, you, Johnny, Sue, we can work to de-escalate the child, but our main priority is to get the other children out of the classroom.
Okay. So okay, we're gonna go to when you said the students are coming in late, being disruptive, all that. What happens when they're doing that? What are you doing? Are you just allowing them to do this in the classroom, or are they being told to go to the office? What's happening?
Again, like I said, there's so many things that have changed since me and you have been in school. There's write-ups, there's all of this, there's things that they go home. But now, instead of it just being a 1, 2, 3, you got a referral, you're suspended, you have to go through a whole long, extensive process. There's tier 1 consequences, tier 2 consequences, tier 3. Oh, finally, you went through all those tiers. Now we can finally suspend this child and say, now you're out for a week. And guess what? In that week span of time, 9 times out of 10, because, and I'm not blaming it on families, it's just society today. A lot of us can't afford and can't do this. So yes, they're at home, but they're watching the TV. They still got their PlayStation. They still get to go outside. All of that stuff that we were not allowed to do. So guess what? I missed school for a week. So be it. I come back, I still get to do what I get to do because guess what? A suspension to me is
Vacation.
it's better than being here because I get to play my game. I get to be on my tablet. Whatever it may be. It's not really a consequence like where we were held accountable for it. I tell you now, I am 35 and Donna Richardson still scares me to this day. And that it's not a scare. It's not a scare of like I am afraid of my mother. I just know in certain places, in certain things that I can do with her and without her. But I know when Donna's standing in that presence, don't try it. Oh, maybe you can do this. But
I don't think the word is scare. I think the amount of respect you have for your mother and the amount of respect that she has instilled for you to have for her causes you to straighten up when she comes in the room. Like, I don't want to, I have respect for my mom, so I'm not going to do anything that's disrespectful to her. And I think
it's fear. It's fear.
It's fear?
Coming from the Black household, that's fear. We like to confuse respect and fear, but it be rooted in fear.
And that's why I say so. It is some scare to it, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad fear, but it taught me in certain places, and it's a time for certain things, and it's a time not to do those certain things, and it I don't know. It's been all in good. I don't know, out of respect, but some of that still needs to happen because, like you said, like people say, you come in these classrooms, and I didn't say plenty of times, no cussing, no cussing. I'll tell you, growing up, you did not cuss around the adults you had to go down the block, around the corner, 12 streets over, and pray that somebody wasn't on that street that knew your mama or the neighbor down the road before it got back to your house, before you got there. It's not, we don't have a community anymore.
Yeah. I was gonna say, sometimes I feel like the way that the parents were raised, they put their trauma on the kids. And so the way that the parents talk to the kids, and it's they feel like every adult is like that. And so that's why they're gonna act the way that they do, if that makes sense.
I do agree with you there, because I'm learning that with my son, and really even from the time that I had him, I really let him express himself. But it has to also be an understanding of how to express yourself to people also. Because it's okay to be mad, but it's not okay to destroy everything in the process. It's not okay to, at points, raise your voice and think because you raise your voice that you're getting your point across, because it's not. So, like, I think in that process, I'm still learning to figure out how to myself communicate that way with him, but also get that communication back from him. So if that makes sense.
It does. I have a question with you saying that. You're saying, we have to teach these kids not to do X, Y, and Z when they're upset and blah, blah, blah. Who's going to teach them that if they're not being taught that at home? Or how can we help parents? How can we help parents and guardians teach their child that at home while also teaching them that at school?
First, you got to get the parents and guardians to come in to be willing to hear those things. Let's start there.
Okay.
Secondly, we can only do so much. Yes, and I said this to a parent long time ago. Yes, your kids are with me majority time of the day, but you have a bigger impression on them than I do. Believe it or not. I look up to my mommy and daddy more than, I promise you, I don't care how many hours of the day your child spends with me. They look up to you more than they look up to me. And you coming in, driving down the road, cussing out daddy, cussing out sister, they picking it up. They getting the vibe. Oh, that's the way the world works. That's how I get things. That's the way we get things done. That's why they feel like they can do it with their teachers. It's the truth. What they see is what they see is what they give. So if I'm showing that respect to them, guess what? Hopefully 9 times out of 10, they're going to show me the same respect. But if I'm, like you said, if I'm doing the shoulder, doing the head bopping and giving, guess what they're giving back to me? The same thing I'm giving them. Mm-hmm. It's only the truth. So again, Give them. Hopefully what I give you, you'll give back to me, but it doesn't always fall that way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Queen, I feel like you got something to say. I hear you breathing. Okay, I'm gonna show some of these. Nicole said it is a different generation of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Diana said some kids are just letting their stress out in a safe place because they don't have a safe place. Maybe they should be referred to the school social worker for support. They should have a higher tier of support. D. Nicole said, when we were in school, 3 tardiness, you had after school detention or lunch detention. Now kids can be late all they want and it's no consequence. So again, I'm hearing a lot of kids can do this, kids can do that, but some of it is the kids' fault. Kids have to have accountability. But like you said earlier, kids go on, kids get suspended and they're just at home still playing their games and stuff like that. Is it that child's fault that their parent or guardian is allowing them to get suspended, or not allowing them to, but they get it suspended from school and they're allowed to just parlay in the house, chill, vacation for a week, and it is what it is? Because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of adults blame children for stuff that they have no control over. Now, older kids, yeah, but also still sometimes no, because of their environment. So how do we work on that? How do we not blame students for stuff that they have no control over?
They
If I
actually
was to
do,
get
though.
suspended, my dad is not playing no games.
You said what, Shanika?
They actually do have control over it, but it's like the other person said, it's a different generation of parents also. We don't take those things out. When you got in trouble, you got those things taken away from you. You were told to do other things. Kids now, I promise you now, speaking as a parent now, my son don't have to do half of the crap that we had to do. I do a lot of things, and yes, he's only 7, but again, we don't set those. If we don't set those standards, they're not going to do those. So if the parents don't take those things away, guess what? That's why they're doing it. It's not. If it's there, why am I not going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not going to do it if my game system is still there? Why am I not going to do it? If you turned it off, just like our parents, I remember in high school, me going to meet up with a boy, being grown, and I had I brought my own car. My first car, I brought myself. Got my job, paid for it myself. And I decided I'm gonna go meet my friend. My mom called me probably about 5 times. Never answered the phone. I knew I was gonna be in trouble. When I got back to that house, Donna took them keys from me. And I said, oh, that's fine. Because in the morning, I'm gonna get my car. Why Donna drove my car to her job? You see the difference? You see the difference? She made sure. And she knew I wasn't going to drive her car. But she made sure I wasn't going to get in that car.
Okay, so this sounds like a scenario for other kids. What about for like 2nd graders or 3rd graders who are struggling with this, the having control because they weren't taught that? Self-control, accountability, like they're not taught that. That's not taught. So how do we teach these kids these things? If they're not teaching them at home, how do we teach them at school? So at least in the school setting, they're behaving appropriately.
And who's to say it's not already being taught in school? But again, we can only do so much on our end. A lot of, and I'm not trying to pick, but I feel like a lot of times when you're saying stuff, you want it all. It seems like everybody want to put it on us teachers. It's not just us. Like parents have one way at their home. We have one way at school. We can only do so much with the time that we have. Parents can only do so much with the time they have. Like I tell my parents all the time, even when it comes down to getting a child potty trained or whatever, we both have to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. If we say we're going to potty train, that means at home you're potty training and at school we're potty training. That you ain't getting home and putting them back in the pull-up after all day I done sat here and had them in underwear. No, don't do that to me because it's a waste of time. It's not potty training. It's either we're going to do it and we're going to get where we need to be because we're on the same page, or we're not going to do it. So again, I think it's a big thing of, this is how we do it in my classroom. You can try these things at home. If it doesn't work at home, let's come back together. This is what we can do. But everybody has to be on the same page at some point.
So you said something, and then Ebony's comment said something. So when I'm speaking, is not to place blame. I'm speaking because this is what teachers and parents are doing. They're blaming each other and not realizing it's so much bigger than us. Like, we have to figure out how to work together. And right now there's no solutions on how to do that.
But you keep saying that, and it is a solution. And the solution is that we all come like we're doing right now and actually have a conversation.
So
and pulling it all together, because we're not having these conversations. If you go back to, and I keep saying this, and that's why I say some things, yes, they have to change, but some things have to stay the same. We have to go back to creating that village and having those people and being on the same page. When we had that village, half of the kids weren't doing what they were doing. I'm not saying everything that we grew up with, because your last talk show where you talked about certain, I can't remember it all, but trauma things that happen that are now affecting us in adulthood. And my youngest sister talked about it a lot. But there's certain things we can't do nowadays because it shouldn't have been done to us back then. But the village needs to come back. And that comes from the people in the neighborhood, to the teachers in the school, to the people sitting on the board. And we need younger people in the board. Because these older people that's sitting there, they still looking at the generation even before we were born.
So Nicole said we don't have time to teach self-control. We have strict curriculum that we have to get through. Our scholars have to pass these tests. Yes, educators, you still have a job to do, but on the other hand, you're still helping raise these children. You're not just their teacher. You play an important figure in their life, to where they need your guidance as well when it comes to stuff. If you're, as a teacher, if you only plan on guiding these kids when it comes to just education and not life or anything like that, then I think we need to revamp that, because in my opinion, students need all of that. They need an educator, and they also need somebody that they can talk to when they're having hard times. They need somebody that's going to help guide them. They need all of that from different outlets, not just my mom or my dad or my aunts. Maybe my teacher, I like her story. I like the way she do. Maybe I can talk to her and she can help me. She can provide me with resources that my parents or my auntie or somebody else can't. We have to build a community, but how do we build this community? How?
I think the idea of the village is just dead at this point. I keep seeing everybody saying we need a village, and it's not that we don't, but the idea of the village is dead for a number of reasons. Yes, the type of parents we have is different. The type of children are different. But when you get parents like me, who came from the same background we all did, who is now fighting against the prior generation with how traumatized, they are and how much they traumatized us, we can't trust them. Yeah. We cannot trust the people before us when they're supposed to be a part of the village. And because so many of us are still battling with that trauma, either from being traumatized or still in it, that the village, excuse my language, fucked. Mm-hmm. It is. There is no village. Nobody trusts anybody. I know I don't. I don't trust the people before me, because they fucked me up, okay? And they still in the same mindset they got now. I cannot trust them emotionally, psychologically. I cannot trust them with my children. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these teachers that's still in this school system, they still with that old school mindset. I can't trust them either. So the concept of the village is just dead. So where's the middle ground? Where is it? What we do about that?
I think it's a new, and the only word that comes to mind is village, but a new village has to be created. I understand where we are, but a new village has to be created, because there's no way in this world that we're all, yes, in life, and I don't know what everybody believes in, and I'm not trying to put faith in it, but I do have faith. We all go to heaven by ourselves, and we talk to Jesus by ourselves. But at the end of the day, we still need people we encountered so many different people, and throughout those encounters, so many different things come from so many different people. So we still have to create those spaces and have those people. We may not use those same people that were there for us because of those traumas, but we can create a new one for the generation to come, because it's not, we need that. And it all boils down to that, because it is really like, it was just recently, I was in a class, I know just recently they said you can't even say social emotional anymore when you're talking about the social, it has to be named something else, a big lawsuit about that. Yet we're saying our kids are struggling with mental health and everything else, but we can't say those words. And in the school that I am at now, in the upper grades, they only do a social emotional concept once a week. Once a week. That was
red flag on the plate, because that's the foundation of it all. Mental and emotional health is the reason why we're having these conversations now. Nobody cares about mental and emotional health of these kids. We so worried about shoving a damn book down their throat. We're not worried about what they're going through mentally and emotionally.
And that's what got me. I'm like, once a week? Hold on 1 second. I don't care if you say it's for 30 minutes once a week. It's still not enough. It's not enough. And again, we have to open our mouths and make it bigger and make it sound, but we don't have a lot of people that's opening their mouths. And like I said, once again, we need younger people on the different boards to also show those things, that kids need those things, because we still have older people that's still choosing and picking the things that have nothing to do with our children today.
Mm-hmm. I feel like younger people on the board, but I also feel like a lot of these teachers with this old school mentality, they need some type of professional development on how to get equipped with today's children in today's society, because that old school teaching does not apply to these students. Like, that's not how you're going to get through to these students. That's not embarrassed. Like, that's not how you're going to do it. And I feel like because there are a lot of teachers that have that mentality, that's been teaching for 30, 40, 50,000 years, but like, they don't know how to be compassionate to children. They don't know how to extend grace to children. They don't know how to treat children like children, because they have these expectations on these children, like, y'all are here to do this, and that's it. There's no hanky-panky, no nothing. This is it.
But in reality too, that is life. You go to your job and you are required to do the A, B, C, and D before you leave, and that's that. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this Nicole that keep commenting, can she come on the mic? Because I would love to have a conversation with her. No, we're not sending the kids to school for mental and emotional health, but that has to matter. It has to matter. It has to matter. There's no if and buts about it. If this child is constantly coming to your classroom and they having issues, I guarantee you somewhere underlining in that those behavior issues is something mentally going on. But we don't care about that. It's sit your ass in this classroom, listen, pass this test, and go on. But let's forget what's really the person. We're forgetting the person. We want robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of things.
I feel like that goes back to this. A lot of, like I said, misbehavior is communicating an unmet need. But a lot of teachers don't see needs. They don't, like, your parents to deal with your needs. You come to school to learn. And that's that. And a lot of times it's not like that. And also, I do want to say, a lot of kids are not being raised by their parents, their biological parents. A lot of these kids are in foster care. A lot of these kids are being raised by their elderly grandparents or their aunts that are alcoholics. Like, you don't know what these children's home lives are and why they're coming to school and do this. And you also cannot, like I said, blame these kids for certain things when they're not being taught these things at home or haven't been taught at all. I feel like a lot of adults don't understand the roots. Like, if a child has needs that have been met for such a long time, by the time they get to the high school level, it's, I don't care. Y'all don't care about me. Nobody's cared about me. So why should I care? Why should I do any work? I don't care. That's the attitude you're going to get.
But you also got to think there's not a lot of people that's sharing, like I said before, for the simple fact that in safe place and all, you also think about what can happen later, because the thought of me I do want a better life for myself, but the thought of me losing my mother or losing my father or being split from my siblings, that comes into factors too. So you got to watch, just like us, you know, whatever the saying was, what goes on in my house stays in my house. Some people still go by that. Like you can't expose everything, because you also looking out that one person that made that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And you lose everything, and it can be the person. I literally just saw this from someone in my church, not trying to put all their business out there, but a lady who's been working hard to try to get her son back, taking all the classes, and still doing what she needs to do, and still they're trying to put her child in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working hard, I'm doing what I need to do to try to improve myself and put myself in a better position, but again, because that one mistake can ruin you in a lot of ways for some people. So again, you got to think, some people are not willing, kids too, like not willing to come in and share their everyday life for the simple fact of fear of what can happen next.
True. That is
So
valid. That is valid. When are teachers supposed to add in the mental and emotional time? As soon as the teachers don't meet the board expectation, there goes her job. It's a lose-lose situation. So
schools need to be revamped.
They do, but I think and I could be wrong, I think how people are taking her comment as having a whole class session on emotional and mental stuff. That's not what she's saying. It's how do you show up for your students emotionally and mentally when they're going through a tough time. This doesn't have to be in the middle of class. And then Ebony also said, hold on, because right here. She said this is not a blame game conversations, which is correct, but unfortunately, people are still blaming people. That's what I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, because it's bigger than the three that are being blamed. But how do we get support? We need people who truly care about the schools in the schools. That eliminates half of the teachers, because a lot of them don't know how to care for these students, especially with their mental and emotional. They don't know how to do that. They don't feel like they need to either. So then what? Because we have to start in the school. It starts in the school and it starts at home as well. But if kids are not getting at either place, then what?
I think it just goes back to what you just said. You said a little bit ago. It's the compassion. It's the grace. It's seeing that I have a person in front of me, a child in front of me, a minor with an undeveloped frontal cortex, because it's not fully developed until it's 25. Yet we have all these strict expectations and rules as if they don't have room to be children, or they don't have room to mess up, or to be a teenager, or to have bad days. I think that's the part that we're missing. We're not saying have a whole kumbaya moment in your classroom. We're saying show up like as if you have grace. Show up as if you understand that this person is just a person who's only been here 10 years. They've only been on this earth for 10 years. They've only been on this earth for 16 years. They are missing so much. And if they don't have that guidance at home, they don't have that structure at home, it's not their fault that they don't know how to, quote unquote, behave in your classroom. If they're frustrated about something and they're not giving them tools at home, and they come to school acting a monkey, of course, no, we're not going to let them, continue to, mess up in the classroom. But at the same time, you got teachers coming at them like, I don't care. I don't care because you're having a bad day. I don't care because you this, that, and the third. Constantly, they have teachers with these types of attitudes. Where is the compassion? Where is the humanity? So no, we're not saying you got to come in there and be a psychologist, but just be a human, be a person.
And I'm also like piggying back like a little bit off of that, and also answering this question that's on the screen. And again, I am just like Tabri, I am with the younger group. With our curriculum and our VPK program, it's the second steps, and it's over a 5 day, and it has little different things that go on throughout the 5 days. But every day is something a little bit different, and it builds on whatever subject we're talking about. And it's no more than like 5-10 minutes. But sometimes too, we also have to steer away from the strip and just take 10-15 minutes. Yes, don't get me wrong. We have these short amounts. That was mind-blowing to me how much time you may have to teach a math lesson or how much time you may have to teach. It's mind-blowing. You get like no time whatsoever in a day. But sometimes you got to walk away from that, and like you said, just if it takes a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and just have a general conversation. Play a game that that is for their mental health, to have those conversations, bring up hard things, see what they want to talk about, find out what's important to them, because that is the biggest part. We want them to be able to trust in us to have those conversations, but if we're not willing to put in the time to have those conversations, then they're never going to open up to us. So sometimes we have to, and I'm not saying all the time, but take a break from the curriculum and say, hey, I just want to check in with you and what's going on with you. And just starting that base and getting the conversation going and keeping that every now and then will hopefully open up that one child that never says anything. Yeah. But we have to take that time out to do that.
Yeah. Relationship building.
Yeah. That's tough because, again, a lot of schools don't focus too much on that, and a lot of teachers don't know how. I'm not gonna say they don't care. They don't know how to do that, and a lot of them don't know how to do that because they don't do that in their personal lives, or they probably still have some stuff going on in their personal life where they cannot connect. I don't know how to connect with this student outside of what I think I should be doing.
But there's also a lot of red tape around it, especially with a lot of stuff that's going on nowadays.
Oh. Trust me, I know.
Can't say this, can't say that. Don't name this. Don't call this child. Don't have too much of this conversation.
Having age-appropriate conversations or having child-led conversations. You don't always have to speak. You can just, if a child says something, you can ask how. Why do you feel that way? So what do you think you can do instead of that? Like that's innocent. The child is just telling you everything. But again, a lot of adults, not even just gonna say teachers, a lot of adults don't know how to have conversations with children. They don't. And that's unfortunate because a lot of children, I'm pretty sure if their teachers or whoever's in their adult, if they get to talking to them on their level, they'll probably just open up and say whatever, but you're not talking to me in a way that I understand, so I can't communicate back with you. Or you're not talking to me, you're talking at me, and when you're talking at me, my brain is shutting down because now I got to go into fight, flight, or fight mode, and I don't know, like, and then if I hit you, I'm in trouble because I feel like you attacking me. So it's a lot, like I said, a lot of professional development courses, trainings need to happen with these teachers because a lot of them are lost. A lot of them are still stuck in 1990 something, early 2000. They're not in 2023. They're not. And because they're not here, they don't know how to bond with these students. It's strictly, like she said, take these tests, do your work, and get up next. That's it. She said we have quarterly mental health sessions where teachers are given topics and students are able to anonymously ask for help. Teachers are showing compassion and humanity. Obviously, you are all not in high school environment. You haven't dealt with students coming in class smelling like weed every day. Remove, comes back with the same, call home next day the same. So is that the student's fault?
In some ways, yes.
Some way, and I can admit it's some ways yes, some ways no. I'm at the preschool level, and I've had students come in smelling very leafy, and I know these kids not smoking. But am I going to be like, oh my God, this student is horrible? They come to school smelling like weed. No, that's something that they can't help. So a lot of students are in houses where, maybe they are smoking weed or they're just around people that smoking weed and they have that scent on them. But because a lot of teachers smell that scent, they automatically think, oh, he's smoking weed. She's smoking weed.
And there you go. And now it's the judgment because that child probably smoking because their mama keep knocking their hair across the damn washer and dryer every day. Or that unfortunately, they don't found an unhealthy way to cope with life. Mm-hmm. So coming in the classroom smelling like weed, obviously, no, we don't want that. But what's the problem? Now we have a judgment against them. Now we're not going to treat them like a human. Now we're going to have this attitude against them. Have we had a conversation with this child? Have you ever tried to build a relationship with this child? Like what? There's so many questions. It don't just stop with, they keep coming in the classroom smelling like weed. What's next? What else is there?
Yeah, and then sometimes it's, and I'm not taking, like, I go both ways, like I said, and I have not been in a high school. I've only been a high school student, different generation, different time. But some kids are just that way, and it is disrespectful. And at some point they do have to learn. And some point they do have to be held accountable for things too. We can't always say 9 times out of 10 it is mental health, but we can't always say it's mental health. Some of these kids are it's their environment. That's all they know. That's what they do, and that's what they're going to do regardless to what place they're in. Um, and all we can do is do our best to try to put our foot forward to do what we can.
I do want
I'm
to
not.
say this, because like Qui said, a lot of these students or teachers expect these students to be robots. A lot of these students are neurodivergent, and that's a whole nother ball game that teachers are not ready for. How do you teach a student that is neurodivergent, undiagnosed? How do you teach these students? How do you understand that this student needs a different way for you to teach them, and they can't do it? You can't teach them that the way that you're teaching the rest of your classroom. How do you make those accommodations? How do you modify that? That's a whole different ball game. But again, teachers, a lot of teachers, especially when they're in the middle, high school, or even elementary school, they're not aware of the signs of, this child may not be learning the way a child's supposed to be learning. Maybe I need to teach them a different way. They don't know how to do that. A lot of them
And
are not.
some do, but you also, when I tell you, it's, I don't know. I think you did say it, but I don't remember. If you've been in the school system, where it's not enough time in a day. It's not enough time with all the stuff that they give you, and you can try and twist and turn. I had a parent that came to my classroom today, and I do my best because I do know the learning styles. I do my best to try to implement them throughout my day as many times as I can throughout the day. But it also is very, very hard and time consuming, and we're already there all day and sometimes after hours, and we're not getting paid for that time, no matter how much we try. I promise you, some days I'm at my school. My kids leave by 2:30. I'm still there till 5 o'clock, and I still got to cook dinner and do everything for my husband and my son. So It's like, we know them, but we also don't have the time, nor no one is giving us that time and space to do those things, to give a quality education for those students. Because like I love the way your nieces and them said the whole thing. When all I could say was when they were talking, and I know so many people don't listen to us early childhood educators because oh my goodness, we're just only there as babysitters. First of all, we're not babysitters. Let me say that. Secondly, if you heard even a high schooler, Tyree's niece, who said manipulatives, basically learning through play.
Yeah.
Again, everything that we're taught in early childhood education, even in high school, they still want that. And I even, before I became in my teaching position now that I'm in, I did a lot of subbing through classrooms. I had a teacher who told me before that I subbed in her class. When she came back, the other teacher told me the kids were over here running around, laughing and having too much fun. Okay, that's an issue. I said, because you had what they were doing, sitting down at their desk, they were flipping crap for me when I tried to do it your way. But then when I start making it where it was tag over here to that word to find this, or go there this way, the desk wasn't being flipped. Nobody was being hurt. I ain't have to call the resource officer. I don't see this. Well, that's not the way I do my class. Again, I was the sub that day, so it's the way I did your class. If you don't want me to sub for you no more, no problem. Tell them you don't want me to sub for you no more. Point blank, period. Because this is the way I do things. And I got to make it work for me so that at the end of the day, I don't have to call a resource officer. I don't have to ask the teacher over there that's trying to teach her class to come out of her class to help me from Johnny and Jim choking each other. So again, but that comes from teachers that's been in it 30, 40 years.
But see, that's why I asked, do your teachers take y'all outside of the classroom to learn? Because coming every day and sitting inside of a classroom and sitting in an uncomfortable desk every day, bro, nah.
It's
So
the
the board,
pipeline. We set them up for the corporate, boring 9-to-5 world. It's awful, but that's what it is. It's a pipeline.
Diana said it's not modified if it's not diagnosed. Even with IEPs and 504s, kids, it's hard to get certain accommodations. Okay.
I wish somebody would not follow that accommodation my child need. Baby, they know me and my 10-year-old autistic son's needs. Oh, they gonna hear me. And baby, listen, I'm not one of them parents who just makes it hard, or who's just unnecessarily what's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive. I work with the administration. Okay, that relationship building is important for me. Even with my oldest son, it is important for me to have relationships with these adults who are spending this amount of time with my children, whose educational needs are supposed to be met. My child's educational needs are supposed to be met by these people. Okay, so that relationship building is extremely important. So I wish somebody would not follow that IEP or that 504.
This is where I also think that people are getting confused when I say modify and accommodate. Like Zarai, my niece said, manipulatives. That's an accommodation. Bring manipulatives in the classroom and if you're learning, like she said, 10s, 1s, or whatever the math thing, bring in toys that they can touch, relate to, give them problems that are real life problems for them. Like, you can talk about the rappers, like you can literally make learning fun. That's what I mean by accommodating and modifying your curriculum to where students are understanding it. And when I say that, it's also not modifying it for one person. When you modify a curriculum, it's for the whole classroom. Oh, Jesus, I just got this wrong on the test, but it's like inclusive learning, general learning. The letters are in my head, but it's not coming out. But it's a way that you can modify your curriculum to where it's beneficial for the entire classroom, but mainly for that one student. How come?
It takes money, though.
I don't think so.
It does.
I don't think so.
It does. Where is that material coming from? The school system only gets so much and is only given so much. So now I'm coming out of my pocket to do I'm telling you, I'm in it. I live, sleep, eat, and breathe it. It comes out of my pocket. Ask my husband. He will tell you, why we up in Target dollar spot again? Because I need this, because I got this. Why we in Five Below again? Because I need this and I need that. Because in every year of students is different. And certain things you may have thought worked with the kids last year that you can bring in this year, nah. But again, that is still not a reason to try to modify and make those changes. But it does take money, and it's not much there, and not many parents are donating, and and we only getting about $300 to spend, and crap ain't nothing.
So as an educator,
within an hour.
As an educator, how come we won't take these up with administration, school board? Like, how come we won't take these up to our higher?
Oh, it's there. It's there. Believe me.
Are we continuously talking to like, hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. Or is it they said no, so it is what it is. They said
not enough fish making noise consistently. People get tired. That stuff sounds like it's emotionally draining trying to fight up against this administration and these school boards who really just ain't listening. It's just like in life in general. We don't like how these prices, inflation, and blah, 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 but not enough of us are making enough noise and sticking to it.
And it not only need to be educators that make the noise, parents need to make the noise too.
Yeah,
true.
Because as educators, you got those other people that's been sitting on the board, like I said, for a very long time. And they're like, well, we're doing this, we're doing that, we got this. I don't understand. And you're still barking. But as parents too, they need to hear that side to see how that is affecting where teachers don't have those things to do those things. So it can't just be us educators talking to those people on the board. It has to be the parents too. Mm-hmm. So
I agree.
Again, and I keep it need to be a new word, but that village, once again, I know we need a new word for it, but right now we just still don't say village.
Community. Yeah. But that's my thing too. I hear teachers saying, you know, we reach out to parents, we don't get anything. My question is, right, and I know I've seen it a little bit, what are you guys putting on at the school that's inviting two parents to come and speak their mind or see what you're doing or see what help you need or anything like that? When are parents getting invited to school? And I'm not talking about on what is it, back to school night and stuff like that. What are schools doing monthly, quarterly, whatever, that is inviting or getting the community involved with the education?
I mean, as a parent, I can honestly say I'm getting tired of all these goddamn notifications, these emails and text messages. So I think on that part, they do as much as they can to try to say, hey, parents, come on. We need to hear your voice. These parent surveys, they constantly, I'm getting text messages now about the parent surveys. Help us with these parent surveys. They want to hear from parents at least once a month. I can say I'm getting some kind of communication to say, if you need a parent teacher conference, if you want to reach out, if you want to know what's going on with your child. I honestly can't say I do get those communications. So I don't know if you want a marching band to come to a parent's house. Outside of that, I think they do send enough communication to say that, make parents feel like they are open to reach out to, communicate with staff about, their children's learning.
And not very many parents and stuff will comment because they just had the parent surveys go out. And I know my principal was still, even amongst the staffs too, and that's why I say it takes everybody, we didn't have very many parents and people filling out the surveys. So like, again, we say these things and you have parents who are complaining about things, but again, they're not putting in the input, or they get on there and they just want to click good down the box so it's done, and then it's, well, why isn't this and why isn't that way, and oh my goodness, do this, but you went down the survey and clicked good, so we felt like we need to change nothing. So again, either be honest or deal with what's there.
I have a question, because it's, even with the surveys I created, they were very long. A lot of these surveys are boring, right? So what else can we do besides surveying to get parents input?
Again, a lot of it
you do. Parents are working every day. Yeah. They what can you do other than a pin a note on the child back saying, hey, parent teacher conferences are being offered. Hey, your child is struggling. Would you like to have a conversation? Because you do have those teachers who be involved. I have one now with my 6th grader. She's very much involved. Her and I email, quite often, because my baby's struggling with civics. So you have some of those teachers. It's like I think it's a 50-50. You have the 50% of teachers who really are involved and really will keep reaching out. And then you have the other who be like, all right, I sent my minimum one required communication and I ain't doing nothing else. If the parent don't care, the parent don't care.
And again, the parents, if parents really want to be involved, they want to be involved. They will be. Like I said, and that's why I tell people all the time, my mom was well known in my school, my school. Everyone knew my mom, whether it was because it pertained to her being in there when it came time to things for us, but my mom also worked in school. I'm not suggesting everybody work in the school system, but I'm just saying, my mom was at every meeting, single parent of 4, regardless to who it was. She was there at every meeting, and if she couldn't make it, she still made time to get on the phone to make sure she was there to communicate and talk until a point until we were able to talk for ourselves. But even then, she sat there to make sure we pushed the words out, because it's like, you telling me at home, but you need to be telling these people at the school too. Like, I appreciate it, but now you're big enough to open your mouth. Now I need to make sure it's being done. So like, those parents have to be there. You can't just say you need all these things or want all these things, and then it's like, when it comes time where it say, here's a meeting or here's a join the PTA. Half of people won't join the PTA. But and you don't know. That's just like when you did the big thing about the whole new rules of the testing and all that stuff. A lot of people didn't know, and I said this when I saw you make the video. A lot of people didn't know about those changes until you got online and put that online, because nobody is looking into that. Nobody, unless you are part of the educational system. And it's sad to say, but it's true.
Yeah. So I posted this question on my personal social media page maybe last year, because I hear people talking about community village, all this stuff. I also hear a lot of educators say stuff like, for the parents, you know, the same energy y'all put into these youth league football games and stuff like that, put it into y'all's child's education. My question is, how come we're not merging those two things?
I after doing 2 years of football, I don't want it merged.
No, like
them attitudes that was out there, girl.
But in my opinion, if that's where most of my parents are at, I'm gonna go there. Me and Largo Junior Packers are gonna get together and we're gonna do some kind of community event so that we can talk to the parents while also doing other things for the community.
But I guarantee you, them same parents who care more about that football award, they still ain't gonna be involved. We'll bring it to them, and they still that participation still gonna be minimal to none. It's just like, what their mindsets are. Their priorities are screwed.
And not trying to be funny, but just like the same thing with the school system and out there with the football thing too, most of those parents dropped their kids off, left and went somewhere else for them 2 hours and then came back and picked them up in 2. So yes and no. I see where you're coming from. I will say it was brought up, like I said, because I did do football season with my son. It was brought up on the thing that academics should be held more accountability, because we didn't really have that many kids that made the for the SPs that's getting ready to come up. It wasn't many kids on the thing for their academics. But a lot of parents too, I sat out with a lot of parents too. They were like, even with these coaches and stuff asking about their report cards and doing stuff, some of those parents was like, what are you guys doing to also hold my child accountable? Because you asking me to bring these report cards out here to you guys or do all of this stuff, but are you guys willing to put in time, an extra hour to study, or coming out here say read a book to me or whatever it may be? Because I can give you all this stuff and you asking me and trying to hold my child accountable, but you also are not putting in the time and the energy to spend that extra hour of tutoring or reading a book or those things. So why should I even give you all of that either? So I hear it from both ends. And that's why I really sit and listen to people, because those are very important things. Because if I'm giving you my child report card and you want me to hold them accountable and you're going to make them do 20 push-ups because they made a D somewhere, then I need you to come over here and step 2 and help tutor a little bit too. So don't try to hold my child accountable if you ain't willing to put in a little bit of energy and time to come and say, hey, we're going to work on them math problems because you struggling in math.
Right, because them 20 push-ups ain't did nothing but made him stronger, and he's still stupid because he need help. He need tutoring. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to say it. It is what it is. Obviously, the child needs some help, but you making him do push-ups. Hello, the baby need tutoring. Lord,
and that's why I say it goes both ways. And like I said, as much the way we see them sometimes with the education, where they don't want to come to the conferences or do anything, they the same way at the football fields and want to show up at game time and hoorah. But at practice, you don't see them sitting out there or doing anything or trying to be extra. And it's same on both ways. But I'm not saying that it's not a great idea. It's an excellent idea to try to merge the schools in the little leagues and everything else too. So
I feel like Nicole just said, if Little League starts at 6:30, they should offer tutoring 1 hour before. I think offer is a really great word, but I feel like I want to say the word mandate. Like, if you want to play for this organization, we need your grades on. We need you to have good grades. You need to come for tutoring. Let's get it done.
So if we mandating the kids to come, are we mandating the parents to participate in the parenting class every time too?
I'm waiting for that part. We still mandating kids to do this, that, and the third, but they can't do nothing without the parents. They can't move right without the parents.
And that's why I say you can't just put this stuff on all the kids. You can't just put it on all the teachers. We gonna mandate these kids. We gonna mandate these parents. I feel like within those months of time, you can participate in 4 or 5 classes or something. We want to figure out how we can get to these kids. You want to hear new methods, so let's do it. Mandate you want your child in this league, they got to come to here for an hour. You got to come to a class at least once or twice a month.
Right, I agree
with that.
It's just like middle and high school, with these kids having to maintain a seat to play. If you got anything under the sea, you ain't dressing out.
Right.
So
And
it
I
need to be
agree with
something
that.
similar, you know, in these little leagues.
Yeah, Largo, the Largo Junior Packers, their older boys did have study hall.
They did, yes.
They did. And that was, like she said, that was
Kudos to the Go Shays.
That was my first time seeing it too. I've never seen that before, and that was good. I'm gonna scroll back up to Alexis's comment. I think this is it. Nope. So she was talking about. It said, I understand that a village has disappeared, mental health, suing, etc. occurs more today, but y'all are right. This talk will create something. The only thing that comes to mind about how I see Tabby trying to break through to everyone is a movie called Freedom Riders. So it's funny that she says that, because when I do think of how to merge community, I do think of these kind of movies, Coach Carter, you know, movies where like the coaches, the teachers care enough to make the parents or to make the community join in and help us. But again, if nobody, if I'm only doing one thing and I don't have help as a teacher and myself, I'm going to be like, I'm good. But how do we do that? I think that is a really important question. How do we get parents in the community back involved with education and helping parents and guardians? I need to start saying parents and guardians. Parents participate in mentoring at fundamental school. I feel like all schools should be fundamental. Look at these ideas.
And it's also a different time, and I'm not using it as an excuse, but it's a different time and a different generation, like we said, with different parents and stuff too. You cannot you think of those stories and those things, but again, it circles back to that village and everyone working together to make those things happen. Nowadays, you can't say too much to too many people, children, before the parents are snapping at you before they'll snap at their kid. When they know the kid's in the wrong. So like you as an adult get snapped at because you said something and the kid seemed to be all right at all times. So like, again, there was people when I grew up that said stuff to me and it was just that. But again, different generation of people and parents. So
I think there has to be a higher level of accountability on the parents' behalf in the school systems, because again, we can only do so much in holding kids accountable, consequences, yada yada yada. But something equivalent to truancy, a child missed too much school, you can literally go to jail in some states. So it's got to be something equivalent to that to hold parents more accountable to being more involved in their children's education.
So I feel like my question is, how do we bring all of these concerns to administration, to the, because one of the questions I asked for the parent surveys is, have y'all ever been to a school board meeting? A lot of people said no. So my question
I was gonna tell you the answer to that one.
No, but my question is, how do we get y'all to start going to these school board meetings and putting y'all inputs on and stand on top of what's going on in the schools and how to help these kids more, how to help yourself more? How do we do that?
Aside from the parents who just don't care or who just don't want to put forth the effort, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
And that parents don't have time. It's expensive as hell out in this world right now. Parents simply don't have time. They work in 2 and 3 jobs. They feel like, oh, if I can't take an hour off work because I'm this, that, and the third. It really does come down to the amount of stress so many parents are under right now, just trying to keep food on the table. So right now, my child's educational needs might be taking a back burner because I got to keep food on the table. So as long as they are not failing, as long as I'm not getting calls every day, I got to do what I got to do. And I know that's the mindset for so many parents. Even if they want to care more, it's just so emotionally and time consuming to try to fight a system or to start trying to participate more when you just don't have it. Like, I'm tired. Now I'm raising 2 children by myself. Granted, I work 1 full-time job. Granted, I have a job who is flexible. I got that time on the books. And I am one of those parents who give a damn. I am one of them parents who will use my whole fucking lunch hour to have a parent-teacher conference. I've had parent-teacher conferences driving on my way to work. I am one of those parents who will make the time. But again, for those parents who already are on low on the scale, like, listen, I'm already barely paying attention. Now you want me to go in and start going to meetings and shit? you know, it's a lot right now. It's a big ask. It really
And
is.
also the child care and trying to you can't have all the kids in there with the school board
Right.
meetings, finding all that
Right.
space, trying to navigate somebody to get to watch the kids, having food, possibly playing them. Like it's
a
a lot
lot.
of factors in
It
all of
is.
that.
It is.
So my question is, and I know Queen, you don't like this word, how do we create this village to where children can have childcare while parents are going to school board meetings or, you know, doing things like that? How do
Right.
we?
Yeah, I guess we suggest to the school board maybe have some on-site childcare, or at least have somebody there available to watch the kids while, you know, we have these meetings. It's got to be some kind of childcare availability, or, you know, maybe offering some snacks or something for the kids or something. You know, it's got to be a workaround.
Yeah.
We're getting low on time. I just want y'all to know I really appreciate y'all for coming on here. I also want y'all to know that y'all have jumped ship because this conversation was supposed to happen next month with parents and teachers.
I'm sorry, but it was getting a little rough there. I was starting to get mad at you. So I'm like, before I misunderstand, let me go ahead and get on here and like, let's figure this out right now.
But that's what I wanted. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the bigger villain is not parents, teachers, and students. As we know, we're fighting a huge system that don't give a F about a lot of these kids. And then on top of that, we got parents. One of the questions in the parent survey was, what's struggling? Like, how are you? What's I don't even know the wording right now. Because I don't like to lie. And I don't like to misrepresent myself on national Facebook. Hold on, let me go to the survey. It asks like, what is the heart? How? Let me just read it instead of trying to guess again. Nope, that's parent guardian. Hold on, y'all. Nope, it wasn't in this one. It was K through 12. Parents and guardians K through 12. Here we go. It is hot. What do you feel is the biggest challenge for parents and guardians and when it comes to raising children today? A lot of the responses I got, a lot of people said balancing work and family. And then the second thing, the second one was financial struggles. So I feel like, ADHD kicking in. So what were we talking about, y'all? My ADHD really kicked in trying to find that. What we was talking about? It really kicked in.
How do we get the parents more involved, and how do we make it easier for them to be involved? Because it's a lot, and how we can start to try to fight the administration when the parents are already fucking tired with their day-to-day life. They're drained. So now we got to muster up this energy to go fight the big bad wolf.
That ADHD really kicked in, y'all. My bad. It'll come back to me. But yeah, see, these are good. These are really good suggestions, and I've been taking little notes down because, again, when we have the parent teacher and have more parents and more teachers to have these conversations with, I want to know, how do we present this to the administration? How do we present this to the school board? What else can we do to get parents involved with children's education and what's going on in the education world in general? Like, what do we do? And I don't know, because I'm not a parent. I am in the education field, but I'm not a parent, and I don't have kids that's in elementary, middle, or high school. So that's why I wanted you guys to tell your input, because I don't know what y'all going through. My program is peaceful.
I think too, like, there's this one, I wish I could think of her name right now, but she on Instagram is this one African American lady. When I say she speak the truth,
Destiny, no.
Oh my goodness. And I see her, and she got short hair, but she talk about parents, she talk about admin, she talk about being a teacher. She holds nothing back. But just open and honesty. And if we can keep, it's so many different platforms now that keeping, I know parents can't make it to things, but maybe if we even use some of these platforms to keep our parents involved and actually taking that time for parents, some parents taking time to actually look at those things, because the more involvement we have, and we may not all be able to make it to a meeting, but if we can get out there and somehow get our word out, and then have somehow get that word back to the school board. Because there are some people, even educators. I have my partner that I work with. When I say she goes gun hard on everything, that when she goes and talks at the school board meetings and stuff, she goes gun hard. I love her. I won't say her name because I don't know if that, how that works. But you got some people that will go gun hard for things, even when parents can't be there, and can speak in front of public people and have no problem presenting those things. But again, if we don't know those things, we can't talk about those things.
Correct.
So maybe just using these different platforms, just like we're using them to reach our students and stuff, and do different things, use it to reach our parents also, because these parents now too are from this generation of technology. So using that to reach out to them, to get them more in the know of things that's going on, so that they can put their 2 cents in to hopefully get it to those people that can kind of try to make a difference and use what we know.
So Nicole asks, what's the percentage of students doing well that have parents that are involved? So what is your definition of doing well? Because based on the research that I did that is located on the Florida Department of Education, the assessments, a lot of kids are not performing at their grade level. So what is well? And how do we know what parents are involved? How do we know that information?
I feel like you would have to go from school to school to find that out. But again, statistics just show having more parents involved helps. I'm not gonna say it is a big success, but it is it does help. So we need it regardless, and you should want to be involved because of all the different things and all the things that are changing with the generation. These kids need to know that we care and we hear and want to know and hear what they're talking about. So regardless to what the number is, just be involved. It makes a tremendous difference.
Make gains passing grades. That's not helpful. That goes back to that video of the teacher saying a lot of the kids are not reading, what was it, 4th grade levels? 7th graders are reading at 4th grade levels, and how the school system just passed them along because they're not at level. They can get there, but we're going to pass them along. Maybe next year they'll get to where they need to go. We're just going to keep passing along and maybe hoping. So I don't agree with making gains passing grades.
Like I said, it helps regardless to what the number is. It just helps because when you know more, you can do more, and it's just not left up to these educators. It takes a lot of us. It takes them not only, and like I said, it's always everything that we do in these classrooms can be done in a child's environment. So you don't necessarily have to sit down and really put them to a desk and read a book. And just like they may not get it in school, but when they home, when y'all out, read different things, do different things, take it outside, learn it, do it in their environment. It's there. We may not be able to do it as educators, but go on a walk with them, study the dang trees. I don't know, but it's science.
So I have a question because y'all are parents. What do y'all think? What do y'all feel teachers can do to help y'all become more engaged with their child's education? I know a lot y'all are already engaged, but overall, what do you think teachers can do to help parents and guardians get involved
with their children at home, or what are you saying?
With their children's education, with how their children are at school, all of that. How do we get parents more involved?
I just say if the teachers are giving you the information of what they're learning, do your best to implement that at home. Y'all don't want the homework anymore. I've seen it even on the YouTubes. What's the homework? Blah, blah, blah. It's we only get this amount of time when we get home. You think I want to do again? If the teachers say they're doing an informational text, go to the dang library, pick up an informational text, touch base on some of those things at home. I had a meeting with my son's teacher, and me and my husband, we both make sure we're there. My husband has been involved since the time my son, we knew we was getting ready to have a child. Has not missed an appointment, anything. But when we found out that he was struggling with the names of the coins, believe me, that Target dollar spot and that Five Below that I do for my children in my classroom became my favorite spot for my son too. And I got fake money and we went over the coins and we talk about the difference and we drew out different things. It don't hurt. It take a couple minutes. But again, I'm gonna make
what your
sure
advantage was. If I want to interject real quick, your advantage was, baby, it's two of y'all.
Yeah.
Majority of the parents out here are single parents, and I'm not making an excuse because again, I'm a single parent and I make that time. I find that time. It's priorities. It's where you put your energy, but everybody don't have that in them to do that.
So when mom is falling off, who's taking who gonna?
When I'm too tired, what's next?
And true and behold, and I'm not saying it works out. It's all kudos, but again, that saying we make time for whatever that saying is. My mama, single parent of 4, and it is different. And she made time for each one of us individually. She made time for all of us together, and all of that too. So it can be done. But I know it's a struggle too.
And I can tell your mama was one of them extraordinary parents. I'm one of those extraordinary parents, but the average parent,
especially nowadays,
the average parent.
But again, like I said, and I'm not trying to be rude. You put the same amount of pressure on the teacher. You say, if we care enough, we'll do this, we'll buy this, we'll put this in our classroom. Yeah. You care enough, you're going to put the energy and time into your child's education too. I know it's a lot of things we don't understand. And it's a lot of things that because like I said, if my child get the same answer at the end of the day, no matter how they solve that stupid dang math problem, because with this math thing that they got now, if it's right, it's right. Oh no, it's wrong because they didn't do it this way. Screw that. They got the right answer, didn't they? Yeah. I'm just trying. I'm being real. It's so many different things, but again, we may not be able to do it right then. But we have to make our children a priority. Yes, the food that go in their mouth, the roof that go over their head, all still needs to be there. But we also have to find that time to put in with them. And it don't hurt when you going down the road. Everybody got change somewhere. Pull out a quarter. You go to the store and buy something. Give me a quarter. Which one of these equal 25 cents?
Yep.
They gotta know it anyway. Oh, look at that clock over there. Look at that clock. That hand is up here and this hand's here. What time do you think that is? Okay, now you remember the 12 is actually 00, and use your environment. The teachers can't do it, but y'all got it. Y'all got the environment. It don't. And you in the car, you turn on that twerk this and twerk that. Change it to something else. Change it to something else. I'm telling you, I'm the teacher plus the mama. Believe me. And I'm in the beginning stages of it. I understand, but change it to something else. Take the phone away. I even told I have a friend who her kids, they got their cell phones, but they can't watch any YouTube or play any games until they do, even though they do it in school. Mayan reading or whatever it is. I don't know all the things because I'm still with the little people. We don't do the technology too much. And all of that. They have to complete, even at home, so many minutes of that reading time before they can get on their phone and play other games and stuff or watch YouTube. People ain't doing that. Use what they love the most and turn that crap into something that they need to know.
And that's something
creators of game systems and stuff. That's math. That's all it. Believe me, it comes in handy. It may not, all the math may not be, but it comes together at one point.
That's a conversation I had a little bit yesterday. I feel like a lot of these games, these phones, these sports, they're distracting from the kids' education. And I feel like a lot of parents don't get into panic mode until their kid is about to fail or not be promoted to the next level, stuff like that. And then they want to start setting boundaries or taking things away and stuff like that. And I feel like as parents and guardians, y'all need to start doing that beforehand. If y'all see y'all kids is distracted by certain stuff, take it away until they're able to get to where they need to go. But also, if you take these things away and your child is still distracted, there's something else going on with your child that you need to see what's going on. Like sometimes taking stuff away don't necessarily help. It might be something else going on with your child that you have to A, not be embarrassed to figure out what that is, B, not be shamed, and just be ready to see like what it is. It's scary not knowing, or maybe having something going on with your child that you are not aware of, but you got to know, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect your child in a negative way if you don't get them the help they need early.
Yeah, check in.
That's
Check
a whole
in.
2 hours, another 2 hour conversation.
Yes, check in with your children. They are people. They are humans too. Check in with them. But that again, that's a whole nother conversation. We ain't gonna do it. We already 3 hours in.
All right, because I'm gonna close out. But yes, the next podcast where we'll have more teachers and more parents is the third Thursday in January. And we will continue having this conversation about what we can do to help each other so that we can help these students, so that we can, I don't want to say defeat the villain, because that's a whole nother ball game. But what can we do so we can get better? How can we create small communities, or get the community back to where we want it to be, or these villages? Like how do we do this without judgment or bashing one another or anything like that? How do we get to the point where we're working together now for the sake of ourselves and our kids? That is the question for next podcast. But I really thank y'all again for coming on here and starting that fire for our next podcast. I'm really excited. Hopefully Nicole can actually come on here and we talk to her face to face or face to voice. And we will go from there. But I feel like this conversation was really good. But I can say the point of this podcast was to keep, not necessarily blame the students, but understand that it's so much more than just the students. That was the point of this podcast. So maybe my wording was not saying that, but my point was to not put the blame necessarily on the students. And then my next podcast was not put the blame necessarily on the teachers or on the parents. Yes, hold them accountable, but it's not all their fault. That's the point. So I don't know if I conveyed that, but that was the point, y'all.
All right, peace out.
So until next time, I gotta read these comments and comment back. But until next time, I will see y'all in July. See what I'm talking about? This teacher is burnt out. Okay. I will see y'all in June. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa, because that's about to come up. And thank y'all all for watching, and I will see y'all next year.
I think you still meant to say January, not June.
Right, but I was gonna let her have it.
I said
Love you too.
See y'all in January. Bye.